no, this one's going on.
There it is.
It's an angry walk.
On the bottom left.
Copy. It's right here.
There's a button that just says copy.
Yeah.
6 one way, half dozen the other.
Big hand.
I think we're live. Alright, real question, husband, what are we gonna do with Sokka? We can't let him about with all these cords.
He will bark.
He will bark anywhere.
Carson, follow that link.
Once you have created your account.
Yes.
And then go and claim your character.
Scott, is it going to be okay with me standing?
Yeah.
Here, I'll switch to a different camera angle.
Do you have to manually switch it?
I have it on my iPad. I can switch it.
Well, hold on, I'm just testing it out.
Yeah, this is more.
Oh, wait, I'm confused. I'm looking at the live over here.
So
He hasn't.
this is the one that's on my computer, and that's going to YouTube. So YouTube has a delay. This has delay. There's like 2 levels of delay going.
Oh, you're already uploading it?
Yeah, it's like that.
Welcome! Under what channel?
It's my personal channel.
Oh, interesting.
It's not
Because
actually.
I created a free action
Okay,
music
yeah.
channel,
Give me
just so
that.
you know.
Yeah, I just wanted to use this to test. And then
Yep, that's perfect.
Well, it's easy to find you, Scott,
Have you heard of
because
this film
you're
Mislead?
taking a picture of yourself.
This
Yes.
film Mislead?
Yes.
Mislead?
Yeah, I've never heard of it before.
It turns you invisible and creates an illusory version of yourself that you can control as a bonus action.
You become invisible at the exact same time the illusory double of you appears in the same spot. So you can just disappear and have
What
your
source book is that from?
Player's Handbook.
regular player's handbook.
I've never seen it
It
used.
lasts,
It's
it
a
lasts
really
for an
good
hour.
one.
Please,
It's
Then
a much
there's-
higher
please
level.
someone find a way to use that. What'd you say?
I
Project
think it's
images
higher
in
level.
It's
Like
5th level.
It's better.
It
So-
makes sense.
There's
I
a
don't-
level 7
What,
one that
it's
lasts for
like-
like 8 hours too. And it's super long range, so you could basically send an illusion to go play yourself.
Do you command the illusion?
Huh?
Do you command the illusion?
Yeah, you control it the entire hour.
Can it speak?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Do whatever
So
you
you
want.
could just
But
have the
it's
illusion
insubstantial, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's still amazing.
Alright.
Yeah, we're waiting on Carson. But we will
All
get
right,
there
how many
eventually.
count?
Welcome! Welcome on, welcome all.
Josh's head is like.
It's delayed. It'll catch up.
What'd you say?
He's adjusting.
Are you watching it live, Jesse?
Yeah.
Hey, look at us. Cool. So you're able to control my camera just like that?
I have different buttons. Not combat.
Got a
With
string.
you standing.
Scotty, I'm very, very
Combat.
impressed.
Combat
Very
you stand.
impressed. Okay, however,
Good, 'cause it took
please
a
make
lot
sure
of
you guys
work.
don't get distracted watching the live stream.
We all just like, wait, what?
Wait, what?
I can minimize it if you want.
No, they're watching it on their phones.
Okay, it's so sad. For just kids. It's-
Anyway, welcome one, welcome all to the long-awaited one-shot for the free action campaign. This is our second one-shot set in the world of Acromia. Specifically the continent of Pentaryn, the nation of Lyn Terranil, one of the largest... No, well actually, probably one of the sexiest as well. Organized
Yeah,
governmental regions on the planet. We've discussed before that Lyn Terranil is roughly the size of the 48 continental United States. Or contiguous, I guess would be another word to use. It is vast. Because of that, many of the regions within the nation operate independently from one another. There is a very loose oligarchy that runs kind of the general doings of the nation and the interactions between the different regions. But for the purpose of our campaign and our one-shot today, we will not necessarily be interacting with any of those geopolitical parties. The purpose of our one-shot today is to help us assess how ridiculously powerful your characters are.
Yay!
Or weak. However, I believe that more likely we will have some very, very powerful and others only seeming weak in comparison because they will still be more powerful than the average adventurer of your level. The reason for this being y'all are legit superheroes.
For the Avengers.
Maybe.
The D-Ventures.
You're the A-Team, the Avengers, you're what DC had hoped the Justice League would be.
Oh, God.
Now been demonetized.
We were never monetized in the first place, so.
I don't think you get demonetized.
Actually, we'd be
We'll see.
demonetized for the music, so. Unfortunate. All of this music that I'm playing tonight does come from licensed video games. Unfortunately, I am putting together a collection of unlicensed music. I have not gotten anywhere near the amount that I would like to have.
If you go to Kevin MacLeod's YouTube channel, it's filled with unlicensed music.
He's the one who does a lot of the music for Critical Role,
Yep.
which is pretty cool. And a lot of his, he composes and performs himself. Though he does also digitally compose, which is neat. However, I would like for us to formally begin tonight's one-shot. Four of you. Steak Riffs, Louis Santana, Claudius Kilnhart, and Gedrid Cordwright currently find yourselves walking towards the familiar location of the briefing room, located in one of the upper levels of the Chimera Den, the partially subterranean headquarters of Chimera, an organization which has devoted itself to protecting Lyn Teranil and its citizens from the plague of the infused. A nefarious, generally, and very powerful creature type that has plagued the nation and supposedly the world ever since the Vestiful alignment, which occurred roughly 25 months ago, or 2.5 years by the calendar of Acromia. You've been summoned there by Ulysses Crow, known to most of you simply as Mr. Crow, the enigmatic and charismatic face of Chimera. Many of you were recruited by him directly, and because of that, you, in some ways, very personal to each of you, owe him a little bit. And when he asks, you answer. And so the four of you find your way to the briefing room, mysteriously missing, however, as the four of you gather together in one of the nearby hallways, is Vosimir. You know that he received the same summons, however, he has not been seen for a few hours.
Ulysses Crow has it?
No,
Boston.
Vosimir.
Oh, Boston.
Yeah. The fifth member of a group which has simply been called the Assets for a number of time, mostly because we haven't really come up with a name for what your elite group is called. You may be simply known as the A-Team, but we probably shouldn't appropriate that name. We'll come up with something.
The Crowmen.
The Crow Men. I'm not exactly sure why.
I agree.
That'll be a rough draft there. First option, first run. You find yourself walking briskly down the hall towards the briefing room, and as you enter, you notice that the wide octagonal briefing room is currently occupied by a number of people. Sitting at the large round table in the center, you see a number of familiar faces, 4 of them to be exact. You see Aracene, the female scholar and head of the Nexus Research Laboratory, located in the basement of the Chimera Den, and Fagan Shawts, a diminutive and hunched-backed human man who runs the network of eyes and ears and general communications for Chimera. He is always seen with a folio clutched tightly to his chest, though rarely is he ever seen to pull a piece of paper out of that folio when giving a report. Many have placed bets and wagers on what exactly is contained within the portfolio.
Yeah.
It's just
That was so
It-
dumb.
No, it is not illicit. However, no one has ever seen it.
So we don't know.
So you don't know.
It could-
Also at the table, separated, so Aracene and Fegan are currently conversing together. They are poring over a number of notes and a number of reports and documents, which is very familiar to you, each of you. When you see them together, they are often in charge of briefing you on missions before you are sent out. This will be roughly the 45th mission that you have gone on for Chimera in the time that you've been a part of the organization, which has been just under 2 full years. Sitting also at the table are 3 other individuals. You see the Grimbeard brothers, 2 very stout and swarthy dwarves. One of them, charismatic, known as Harlan. Thank you, Brain, for failing me at this time. Harlan Graves, the charismatic and very personable dwarven gunslinger, and his not his twin brother, his younger brother, Edmund Grimbeard. Where Harlan is charismatic, Edmund is not. However, Edmund has been known to display incredible empathy. I want to say empathic, but I'm pretty sure that's
Not a word.
well, it's a word.
supernatural.
It is supernatural. It is a superpower. He is very empathetic. Thank you. He has a heart of gold, and he is the first person to seek to comfort others. And he seems to have a supernatural ability, so maybe he is empathic. Supernatural ability to be able to detect when another person is distressed. Sitting between the 2 brothers, you see 1 foot up on the table, leaning back in the high-backed chair, a very, very handsome and very posh-looking elven man who's currently talking between the 2 of them, and he seems to be talking them in circles, all while performing a very impressive round of juggle. As he moves the balls through the air from one hand to the other, he seems to be able to engage both of these dwarven men in very deep conversation, while also sliding in little bits of humor, generating chuckles from either of the brothers, and each time one of them chuckles, another ball is added to the circle. Behind the table, standing in front of what has been termed simply the portrait wall, nothing fancy yet, you see Mr. Crow and Bosmir. The 2 of them seem to be talking in hushed tones, and as Mr. Crow notices each of you enter the room, his golden irised eye turning in your direction, he places a hand on Bosmir's shoulder, walks towards the table, and Bosmir turns away, staring at a particular portrait on the wall. You recognize this portrait, and I shared this information with you before we began today. Well, it's time, I guess. I'm grateful all of you have joined us today. Mr. Crow walks towards what would be considered the head of the table. It's simply the spot that has the largest of the high-back chairs. There are 20 or so of them that surround the table. He does not sit in it. Instead, he stands next to it, both hands on his topaz-topped cane. In front of him, a very nice, well-tailored and tapered black suit. 3 pieces, a very fanciful coat with long tails, a vest beneath, and trousers. He looks across each of you with his heterochromatic eyes, and he beckons each of you to sit. We have another mission today, and I'm afraid it's a bit more mundane than we're used to. Think of this simply as well-earned vacation from what we've been doing for the last 2 years. As you know, I am very proud of each of you. We've had a profound impact on Lynn Terranil and its people, and most importantly, the government. This request comes to us from Realm Keeper Venairos herself. She has asked us to look into a little matter that has been plaguing her for the last month or so. Apparently, a number of people have gone missing, have been killed by sickness in the frontiers town of Misside, far to the south. So, each of you will be traveling by boat, riverboat, arcanely enhanced, to be sure, but you'll be traveling by riverboat with a group of Chimera personnel in order to investigate, but more importantly, provide relief. I'd much rather you were on the front lines, which seems to have become your place. However, it has been expressed to me by the council that it may be good for us to take a step back and allow the OTAR, the military, to experience a few incursions without Chimera's aid. Perhaps then they will remember why we are so valuable to them. Anyway.
Passive aggressive. I like it.
Yes, well, I'm simply trying to be okay with this, and that's the way I choose to do so. So, Aracene and Fegan will explain to you a bit more about the mission. Feel free to ask any questions. And he finally, for the first time, sits.
So we're just going down the riverboat, you said?
Aracene finally looks up from her notes, realizing the attention or time has been turned over to her. Yes, you will be traveling by boat, which I guess is all well and good, because we've been running a few tests on the Nexus jump system, and we've had to recalibrate a few things, and unfortunately we've lost a few subjects.
Yeah. More of them turned to goo.
Oh no, we simply lost them.
Oh!
Yes.
Possibly to the nether realm.
Yeah, I may be talking to you about that later, Sig. You're certainly the most well-traveled of the group. Yeah. Anyway, you notice Aracene, whom you met first 2 years ago. She had been recruited very, very young, directly out of the University of Enlightenment in Ventana, where she was on the verge of expulsion because of a number of her more radical, innovative ideas regarding the use of ley lines in a new and innovative way to transport simultaneously without the use of a transportation sigil. This was frowned upon by those that ran the university. They pulled some of her funding, and she risked her education and diploma there. Fortunately, Chimera was interested in her research, and they recruited her. When she was recruited, the rather diminutive, though stout, wood elf, Aracene, was very young and fresh. However, she has since grown rather frazzled. A few unfortunate gray hairs have sprouted, and where she was normally well kept, well put together, she has become enveloped in her work. She doesn't necessarily have as much time for her appearance, and she doesn't really care. She's very enthralled in what she's doing. Yes, but you unfortunately will not have to become one of my current test subjects, which is good because I didn't bring any waivers with me. However, we will be traveling by riverboat down to Misside, passing by Alpha Tyrion along the way. We will not be making any stops. The journey should take about 12 days. Once you are there, you will be distributing relief to those who have been plagued by sickness and other things.
Without turning around, Vosimir says, Aracene, who's the new guy?
Yes, maybe Mr. Crow. Yes, this is, Tobias. He's, a more recent acquisition for Chimera, and he has agreed very generously to accompany you on this mission.
Seems like he's very good at handling balls.
Well, gee, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, they're
I
back.
believe we've actually met.
Have we?
Yeah, we went on. Ah, never mind. Talk to you about it later.
Uh-oh.
When we get to Miss Side, we'll
Get my head.
who will we need to be talking to?
At this time, Fegan kind of perks up a little bit, and very,
Well,
I have to assume the position.
there are allies.
Uh,
Which position are we talking about?
Fegan Schultz. Fegan Schultz, the nearly bald head dominated by a few wispy strands, which seem to have been grown at length in order to cover as much of his pate as possible, is perpetually found in a hunched position, shoulders rolled forward as if protecting something, most likely the folio which he carries with him, hands constantly writhing, almost never makes eye contact, and when he does, a rather disturbed feeling tends to wash over those that he's speaking with. He seems to understand the power that he has over others, and so, out of social politeness, he often averts his gaze. Miss Riffs, we have a contact who we have pulled up from Alpha Tyrion, who you will be reaching and communicating with in this side after you arrive. By the name of Totix.
Totix?
Totix, yes. He's one of our more reliable agents and informants. Typically, he keeps an eye on the border with Spherus to the south.
I think Texically.
But,
Now-
Interesting. Now, what would he look like so we know how to...
but he's very small.
Small like Gedrid or small like
Like a gnome.
Sid?
Oh, certainly. He's a gnome. Yes.
Oh.
He's very small. He's very good at blending in and remaining concealed.
He's not a
He's also very good at listening when he should not be, or rather, when we want him to be.
And now, just to clarify, we're supposed to be going there to cure some sort of sickness. Are we getting medicine? Do we know what this sickness is like? Is it contagious, or are we just waltzing on in?
Oh!
Should we know to cover our mouths, that sort of thing?
Is it a cough, or is it more like a venereal disease? It's like we
Do
gotta
we
make
need
sure we don't,
spices?
you know.
I have a
Is it-
report here.
Okay.
39 people have died of sickness in the last 2 months. The disease does not seem to be contagious.
How is it spreading?
That's partly what you're going to investigate.
Does it?
Sounds like something for our dear nature mage.
Well, I'm specializing more in deer nature, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nature.
Well, I guess my main question is, how big is the population of the town? I was gonna say.
Let's see. The last census put Miss Side at approximately 2,308 people.
39 people dying of sickness is not.
Well, that's quite significant in the population of the town.
Is it?
Compare
I
that
know.
to if you had a population
Of
of
course,
50,000.
I'm always
that would
working.
It's about 1%.
That sounds like
Josh also is always for real.
be- It's hard for you.
It hurts my head.
Well,
I like talk to you about our characters.
So the type of sickness, cough, bleeding.
Oh, man, I
No.
like talk to you outside the car.
Most of the time, people wake up and they're
Oh,
well, they
it's-
don't wake up.
That's funny, yeah.
Oh. No other symptoms other than just permanent sleep and
Just-
wasting away?
yes, a rash on the chest.
A rash on your chest,
Yes.
you fall asleep till it dies.
Sounds like a succubus.
How did they dispose of the
I
bodies?
don't think
They'll
so.
die.
I'm not sure what you know.
There's a wise woman
It's
in
It's
Miss
like it sits on your
by
chest
the name
while
of
you're
Jouet.
asleep and you suffocate and die, right? That's what my mama.
Madame Jouet. She is the head of the infirmary there in this side, and she has currently been
Just remember.
maintaining the bodies.
gotta redo
It
that,
seems
too.
that many of them are being preserved to help them find out the cause of the sickness.
Are they being preserved by magic, or are they putting them in the creek?
We'll have to ask her.
I would hope by magical means or on ice.
So are we getting medicine to go there, or are we going there to discover a cure?
At this point, Aracene kind of chimes back in. Yes. Well, the lot of you, including the Grimbeard brothers, they kind of just nod towards Aracene and towards each of you. You will be meeting with a number of barges in Vantana, where you will be departing down the river towards Mistside. And the barges will make good time. They have all been discreetly enchanted in order not to draw attention. Though I imagine when people see you cruising by at the speeds you will be traveling, it will become a little bit more obvious. But, well, we did what we could with the time we had.
What kind of enchantment are we talking about here? Is this the kind of exploding enchantment that we can expect, or is it some sort of fire elemental
for
base?
subtlety.
No, some
Claudius,
it was a speedy cantrip.
Is it some
I
sort
feel
of
the need
wind
to reiterate
elemental?
that I appreciate that you donated so much of your time and strength to one of my more recent experiments, but we don't need to bring that back up. You won't be blowing up.
Look, I'm fine with blowing up. I'm quite fireproof, but I gotta worry about the other people.
Is he safe to ride on wooden boats?
I can put out fires as fast as I make them.
How about you don't make any?
I put flame retardant soles on his boots, so that should hopefully keep anything from passing.
Keep a few buckets of water nearby.
Those are merely experimental.
Any
Well,
more
so is
illness
everything,
is
but
redundant?
until it's been
Perhaps we
proven.
should- Perhaps we should get going.
Is the subject matter that Mr. Crow talked to Vosimir about, the location of that, is that close by that town?
Nope, completely opposite side of the
Perfect,
nation.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's more something for the future.
gotcha. I think we should be getting going, especially if we're gonna take a boat. It's gonna take a while.
Any more questions we have would be best directed to the townspeople, I think.
Yes, I would also recommend that, excuse me, I would recommend that you contact Mayor Laura Lynn Vanairos. She is cousin to the Realm Keeper. Distant, but she is high enough to be considered a noble.
Can
She
you give
is
me that name again, please?
Laura Lynn.
Borland?
Laura Lynn.
That's her name?
Mayor Laura Lynn Vanairos. Yes.
Lord.
She is a distant cousin to the Realm Keeper, and she is only a level or two beneath becoming royal herself. So, please work with her and be respectful.
Lord.
Laurelin.
Vanairos. Vaneiros.
And there are two names, Laura and Lynn.
And then you put them together.
Laura Lynn.
I think our parents forgot the space. When
Wow, I
writing the
thought
names.
that was a common way of naming people.
New guy.
Was combining two small
Yeah.
names.
What can you do?
I mean, mine's like Lou and then
Like
Yeah.
Marianne.
Quite a bit.
Depends what you need.
Red.
there. It's simple. I
Like-
get it.
Why do we have
Getting rid of something?
Oh,
I believe we need a
That-
little bit more
I've
of a
never heard that
delicate
one
touch
before.
judging by the rest of
And
this
you
party.
never made that.
No
before.
offense.
That's the
Mostly.
first time this week.
Vosimir.
I'm sorry.
Tobias
I
is
told
very
him it's a sense
gifted
of-
at noticing details, and I feel that this mission will require a special eye for detail, as this has been going on for roughly 3 months. I should also mention that in addition to the 39 people that have died of disease, another 41 have gone missing in the last 3 weeks.
That's a little more important.
I do not know if they are connected. However, when the Realm Keeper extended the request to us that we send our best team, this drew my attention, which is why
We're missing
41.
41.
So we got 41 missing and then 39 dead.
Yes.
Add those
80
numbers
total.
together.
We get 80 out of that. That's surprisingly even.
I don't think the number is.
Might be some kind of ritual.
It's even.
But it is a significant portion of the population.
It's a good thing it's an even numbers. Odd numbers is bad.
is there a dock
They're
that we go
weird.
to?
Yes,
Like connected to the manor?
absolutely.
Vossmer starts heading to the
Wait,
docks.
Oh no.
Oh.
You guys will be traveling to Ventana
You said almost
by
more than
teleportation,
almost
and then you will be taking a riverboat south. from there.
almost more than
Alright,
20.
Vossmer goes and gathers his
All
gear.
he was good
So
at
if there is anything that you feel you need as far as supplies before
Oh, did I think you're
before
wrong?
venturing off on this mission, now is the time to declare it. There are materials available in the armory, as well as
What kind of potions do we
Yes.
have available
Right.
to us?
we have a number of potions available to you.
We also have a DM's guide I can borrow.
I do.
Cedric,
Yeah.
do you
So
have
like
what's
one
restoration?
rare and then an uncommon.
Oh, you still haven't picked those out?
Yeah, because I'm retarded. Sorry.
Didn't we talk about it?
Look.
If you don't have a head, like,
50
we
things.
No, I'm
can
not-
sure go get like a scroll or something.
We talked about it. That's not the mood I was going for.
He's just trying to remember as well.
I was trying to remember. Like I'm pretty sure we talked.
It was like, look, I can remember like
Remember
5
the
things a week.
20-minute conversation outside your car.
When? A while ago.
It was a while.
He was like once ago.
It probably was a while ago.
Many
Well, we've been
moons ago.
talking about it for this whole thing for a while, so it was a while
Yeah,
ago.
it's probably before you even thought of like any of my
Oof.
character.
No, you told
Okay,
me.
I left my
like,
armory list
details
at
about
home. So
his painting.
I've got a number of things in there that if you asked, I might be able to let you know. Oh, as far as
And a
potions go,
lot.
there are a number of potions. Keep in mind that potions are only restocked every so often, because they do take time in order to craft. Fortunately, you do have alchemists working for Chimera, and they do assist both with enchantment work, as well as crafting potions. So there are a number of healing potions available in various sizes. For standard healing potions, we have 10. For greater healing potions, we have 7. For superior healing potions, we have 3, and 1 supreme healing potion currently available.
How much would it cost to purchase?
It doesn't cost you anything.
If these are part of our,
This is part of your armory.
what if we take about half of the small and medium ones, and then a couple of the larger, the more powerful ones?
That sounds
Sounds good to
reasonable
me.
So we don't wipe everything out. but we have
I'm
some.
more of support in combat, so I'm fine with forcing some mysterious liquids down your gullet while you're fighting.
It's not the first time she has.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's take
Thank
5
you for being our potion.
just regular potions.
Okay.
You said there's 10, right?
Yeah.
So we'll take 5 regular potions.
Alright, I'll go ahead and mark
And
this
then
down in
7,
my bag folder.
Potion of
Greater.
greater healing.
Yep.
So we'll take like 3.5.
Oh,
Pour one into a little
Just
smaller
little-
vial.
That one cap.
wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Your
No, we'll
shot,
take,
your healing shot.
Let's take 4. Let's take 4.
Okay.
Is there any way we could get a scroll
What kind
or
of scroll?
something of lesser restoration?
No, you worry about it. I got it.
A scroll of lesser
Alright,
restoration.
that's what I was asking about. Alright.
Oh. I'm glad you got that figured out, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not too good with the whole magic thing. That'd be more my brother's purview.
Now, would we have some
5
antitoxins or anything
regular
like
potion
that?
of healing.
Most likely. I
In
can
case
swing
it's
by the
required.
alchemist and see if he's
4
got ready to
greater.
go.
I got that.
And then what was the other ones? The
What's the restoration?
3 superior, 1
Sure,
supreme.
we wanna
Let's
make
just take
sure that
one
we save as
superior.
much of your magic as possible.
One
Call that.
superior.
I think that'd be good.
If we can
Yeah.
do it without
So you
And
took
then-
4,
and
3,
then
and
he
1?
has
You're
5, 3, and
We're good.
5, 4, and 1.
Thank you.
Okay.
And-
And that was standard,
Or if you're
Standard,
greater, and superior.
Yep, we left the other one.
I got him. Is there anything else we need to?
There's
Um,
Ra-
four
rations.
greater
We need
and-
rations.
what were your higher ones?
Foods?
One each of the higher.
No.
I'm tired
There,
of
so
rations.
there
So
were
you
10
have the-
standard,
Mhm.
5 have been taken already.
Okay.
There
Alright.
were 7 greater, 4 have been taken already.
She's got them. in
3 superior, 1 has been taken, and there's still 1 supreme. I will have, from this point forward, every time that we start a session, I will have an updated, or every time we return to the Chimera Den, I will have printed out an updated armory inventory.
Cool.
Okay.
Yes.
Requisitions.
Do you have anything else, any other gear that you might be interested in? I heard antitoxins, which we can obtain.
A fishing pole.
Fishing pole?
Yes.
Oh,
We're gonna be on a boat. We can fish while we get food.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
you could probably pick some up
Yeah.
on the way. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fun. How about Do you have any other rations, or is that going to be taken care of on boats?
Yo, your rations will be supplied
It's
to you
a
by
yacht.
the Chimera personnel.
It's
you don't
a
need
yacht.
to.
We're on
carry
a
any
yacht.
Mm.
I mean, you guys have your
That
emergency
makes it a
rations
little uncomfortable.
because I
It's
mean,
a,
it's not uncommon for a jump to kind of strand you somewhere. So it's always smart to have your own rations on you. But for the most part, whenever you travel, there's always a quartermaster with you.
oh. You just
Have
don't let
her
him
own
die.
cook, basically.
Well, I mean, it's field cooking, but yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like it's
Um,
soldier meals, basically.
Right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
what's the terrain like around Misten?
I'm sorry, what's the what like?
Terrain.
Mid-side.
Well, I personally haven't been to this site in ever. However, from what I've heard, it's very untamed. This site is located on the side of
plains.
Adzor Lake. And
Okay, so possibly marshland. So
I'm sure there are marshlands nearby. As I mentioned, I've never been there. But we could probably obtain some information on that.
okay. Well, I was just thinking about climbing gear if it was rocky or something like that.
As Harlan's explaining this to you, Edmund just sort of like shoulders past him, and he pulls out like a little notebook, and he just sort of like thumbs his way through it, opens it up.
This side, Frontier's Town. Not very old, 30 years. Has been run by the Venairos family for the entire time. Recently, apparently, has had a change in leadership as Arvan Venairos passed away, and his daughter, Laura Lynn, took his place. Apparently, she was a student at the university at the time, interrupted her studies there.
How long ago did they get replaced?
5 years.
Can you point on this map where it's at?
This is an old map, that's right there.
Right. Well,
Right where? Right
Is that it?
This
I
side.
think we're
Perfect.
good then.
Oh, you wanted to know about the terrain?
Yes.
Yes. Well, aside from the very large Adzor Lake, directly south of the town, south and west a little bit, most of the town is surrounded by slightly marshy land. Nearby, there is a very large something. It literally says something.
Probably forest.
Are these your notes?
Is it a mountain? Did someone mishear something?
They are now.
Alright, well,
They're not.
perhaps it wouldn't be totally out of the realm
You
to
may
get
have
a
taught him
floating
something.
boat.
About stealing.
You see, it's things that aren't yours, and then you keep them.
They are good.
What about the,
Right.
like, would it be helpful around the marshlands to get a folding boat?
That might be a very, very useful thing.
You could just trudge through it.
Fortunately, your armory has a folding boat.
What? Really? Yay!
Yep.
I would take it!
I remember it being one of the weirder items
Is it like-
that I randomly rolled.
Is it like one of those Minecraft boats where it's super tiny and you just like sit in it?
Yeah, we're gonna fall fit.
No, it actually, it's,
We superimpose
15
like
feet
Final
long?
Fantasy.
Oh, nice. So it's like a canoe.
yeah. Hey, Shaden, will you look up the folding boat for me?
It goes to 10 feet long.
Oh, 10 feet.
4 feet wide and 2 feet deep.
2
And
people
when-
or 3 people?
And when it's, for, I don't know how many people,
Okay, that's fine.
but, oh, can hold up to 4 medium creatures comfortably, but we could probably, squish tiny people.
You have
Or
some
I
small
could just
people.
fly. I don't know. But, I'll take that just in case, and I think we'll head out.
All right.
So before you guys head to the teleportation room, Harlan, Claudius returned.
Yes.
Harlan returns to you, and he has 2 potions of poison resistance. He unfortunately was not able to find any that will cure poison,
Oh.
but he found some that will help you abstain from being poisoned.
Alright, preventative. Okay.
My mother always said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Well, that'll make travel light.
Also, IRL, I made pumpkin cheesecake pie stuff with homemade whipped cream. So,
Things just got interesting.
more later.
This is now a cooking channel.
And the pumpkin pie I baked and pureed myself.
ASMR. Listen to an entire D&D party. Yummy food.
Okay.
I mean, can you blame us though?
While
You-
rolling dice.
The 8 of you
Alright.
are teleported to the Chimera Chapter House in Ventana.
Do we have to roll con saves?
No.
Not this time. It's to a sigil.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It is
We're
safe
not-
travel.
We're taking the bus.
They have taken the Nexus jumping network down. No one is allowed to use it right now because they're working out some bugs, which are not
I
features.
like it.
Aww.
They are definitely not features.
Is that
Well, it
fun?
depends on who you're
So
asking.
you're looking-
Not the guy stuck in the astral plane. So
Noting
you
forever.
are teleported over to Ventana, making your way east towards the magnificent docks, the magnificent harbor of Ventana. Ventana is a city which is located near a conjoining of two large rivers. The town itself is built on both sides of the currently unnamed river.
River.
Doesn't matter. River. The two sides are connected, not by normal means of a bridge, because the river itself, where the city of Ventana is located, is roughly 3/4 of a mile across. Instead, as you approach the harbor, you see up in the sky, up and to your left as you're walking towards the harbor, slightly to the north, you see a slight shimmer, which leads directly eastward from somewhere north in the city. And as you watch the westernmost edge of this shimmer in the sky, you see a beam of light shoot up from the ground until it reaches that shimmering line in the air. And that line stretches off into the distance. As the beam of light rests on the edge of that shimmer in the sky, you see a number of specks which begin walking across the shimmer and currently making their way across the river to the other side of Ventana.
Appears to be a rainbow bridge. Yeah.
It rises roughly 50 to 60 feet or so into the air, enough that a galleon would be able to make its way underneath without impeding the traffic.
Okay.
You are not sure if it is semi-solid, but it seems to be capable of transporting people. And as you focus on it, you actually do see some individuals walking the opposite direction towards the western coast of Ventana.
I think if we go to the end of that, there might be a leprechaun and a Pago.
I don't know. Gudrun's about the size of one.
Leprechauns don't do that. That's just a stereotype.
And you know this how?
Actually, my cousin was a leprechaun.
What?
What?
Well, I mean, he's still a leprechaun.
I mean, you
have
know
a cousin
Benzer.
who's a leprechaun.
How did he become a leprechaun?
Well, you see, his
why aren't you a leprechaun if he's a leprechaun?
No. You need to understand. It's from his mother's side, not father's side.
Is it like a recessive gene?
No.
You aren't paying attention. You keep interrupting the story.
His father married a female leprechaun.
Well, no, she's not a leprechaun. She's a genie. You see, when a dwarf
This
and a
is.
genie
I'm
get together,
What a dwarf and a
they
genie
make something
walking
really
too far.
disgusting. And when it comes out, it's covered in all these warts and wrinkles. And as it grows up, it realizes it has the power to conjure these interesting things. Some of them are pretty mean, but others are gold. And the gold is what matters.
I'm a little bit confused.
just gonna drink my little water here.
Sorry, what's that?
Is Perps always like this?
Road trip.
Next story.
Next story. Edmund just like claps his brother on the back and just keeps walking, and you all make your way down towards the harbor.
That was excellent.
And
Good job.
Harlan pulls out a map, and he lets you know that there's a certain pier that the Chimera barges are currently docked at. You make your way over to them, and there are 3 separate barges. He leads you towards the frontmost of the 3. You board, and your river journey begins. We will not be expounding on this today. We will have other river travel episodes, but today is all about this side. I'm sorry for those of you who are disappointed, but it's a one-shot, and we got to get start to finish.
Right.
So, after 12 days
You miss out on
Of
all
travel.
the banjo playing.
Play the banjo.
doing,
I thought you played.
having fun with all of the different members of the crew, as well as trying your best to fish alongside a barge which is traveling at about 22 miles an hour downriver. Just so you know, a typical steam-powered riverboat travels at about 8 miles per hour.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So you're traveling at about 3 times as fast as a steam-powered riverboat. You are cruising.
Do we have
Cruise boat.
steam-powered riverboats?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sure
In
are.
this world?
Oh yes.
Okay.
The Industrial Revolution has begun.
Okay.
Some of the things that inspired the Industrial Revolution are secret. They have been captured by certain people after the events of the Festival, and they have not been revealed, but there are a stream of technological and industrial inventions that have been coming out that no one really understands. However, 12 days later, you find yourselves docking on the eastern side of Adzor Lake. As you found yourselves exiting from the main riverway and heading now upstream towards the lake, you notice that being this part, the southern region of Lyn Terranel, seems to be more strongly affected by the current winter temperatures. Edges of the river, which sometimes close to not more than 200 feet across. The banks are currently lined with thin layers of ice. The same when you enter Adzor Lake, the foremost barge, the barge that you're on, actually has to employ a number of sailors with long, about 20-foot long poles, which stand at the helm of the ship. And leaning over the side, they stab down with their poles, and they have to break up chunks of ice in order to allow passage into the lake. Once you make your way towards the center of the lake, the ice subsides. It's now just chilly water beneath you, but the shoreline is all currently crusted over with a thin layer of ice. Did you have something you wanted to add,
Oh,
Claudius?
I was going to assist with that.
Yeah.
Use shape water to start melting ice. So
Yeah, and the sailors are very appreciative of it because it means less work for them, and they still get to look like they're doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah. No sailor worth his salt would ever deny help, as long as the captain doesn't realize it. So you
I'll
make
just stand there real casual. Just like
Yeah,
do
so
enough to
the
send
lake
someone
itself
else to-
is about 3 miles wide at its longest point. You make your way to the other side of the lake. You notice on the western edge of the lake, there is a decent-sized woodland or tree line that seems to extend for some distance. Though from kind of the center of the lake, you can't really tell how far it might go. You're about 1.5 miles from that shore. However, as you move north and eastward, the wood line ends and is instead replaced with a kind of a marshy terrain, which is strange. During the winter months, marsh doesn't necessarily freeze over. However, it does grow frost on its surface. And so you imagine that if you were to traverse the marsh, there would be a lot of crunching and a lot of breaking through thin layers of frost and ice. But for now, you make your way towards the harbor of Mistside. Docking, the 8 of you immediately make your way down the gangplank and onto the harbor. There are not many people out in the streets. You find yourselves arriving at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and there are only there's a carriage, a tall, well-dressed elven woman, and it looks like a number of attendants with her. The elven woman is currently standing, hands clasped behind her back, and simply waiting. Not necessarily haughty or stuck up from what you can tell from her, from the way she's currently standing. She simply seems to be waiting, and she acknowledges each of you with a slight nod, and you get the feeling that this is most likely Laura Lynn Venairos.
During our stay here, can I just like keep an eye out for a weird, grubby little gnome that's sticking his nose where it shouldn't be?
Absolutely.
Did he say the gnome was the assistant for that?
He's like a contact.
I think he's an agent of the Cumbier.
So I approach Lorlin and offer, is it appropriate for like a handshake or a curtsy?
Typically, when a citizen is approaching either a noble or a royal, typically a slight bow is appropriate. It is genderless. It is acceptable for females, males, whatever, etc.,
Etc.
etc. I'm sorry. Andro. That's what I was thinking. Just genderless. Is appropriate to give a slight bow, but if you choose to shake her hand, you don't really know how she'd react. Though most royals probably would show a little bit of offense, it is not necessarily something that is punishable.
Okay.
I give her a nod.
Yeah, go do just a nice elegant bow. Well, I don't think we need to waste any of your time. Would you like to lead us to the issue?
Yes.
Hello.
You need to say something different.
I go in and take her hand and kiss like the ring area.
Interesting.
Seeing
Seeing your heritage, she allows it.
Okay.
There are not many outside of the elven kind of royal line that would allow this formal of a greeting, but she allows it from you.
You're just straight up an elf, right?
Yes.
She's straight up an elf?
Yes.
No, I wasn't asking. I'm just.
I understand.
With my eyeballs.
I'm trying to remember the character. I'm asking with my eyeballs.
Yes.
She places one hand over the center of her breast, and she gives a very respectful nod to each of you. My name is Laura Lynn Venairos. I'm a rather newly appointed mayor of this site, and I understand that you are agents of Chimera.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
right. I'm Claudius Kilmer. Nice to meet you.
You
Right, wow. Sorry.
You smolder.
Yes, that's an enchantment on the armor.
Interesting. But
He's a
Cast
slave to
circle.
the aesthetic.
yes. Anyway, I am very grateful that you've come, and I see that you've brought many. I wasn't exactly aware of the quality of aid that would be provided to us. When I petitioned my cousin for assistance, I simply led with her to send someone that might be able to cure those of us who have been falling ill.
We got our best doctor in the land here.
We make no guarantee.
Yes.
That we
You
can
are
cure
a
them.
doctor,
Disclaimer.
formally trained.
Please sign this
Not
paperwork.
quite a doctor. I'm a druid by trade.
Excellent.
Specializes in deer nature.
You must be from the plains, then.
That's correct.
That's right. We do get a number of larger equestrian types here.
not necessarily deer, but I'm sure you'll be able to find
also
something.
now.
I see what you're saying.
She's not talking about you.
No, you can trust that
He just
you
looks
are
up
in
to
good
us and
hands.
she's
We will find a way.
help.
Solve this problem in your
Railroad.
town.
Could we see the bodies?
Oh, well, straight.
Begin our
that then.
investigation.
Yes. I had been hoping perhaps to introduce you to the town. Perhaps
Sure.
we can do that first.
We may, however, wouldn't it be more prudent to address the sick who could possibly be getting sicker?
I can see that you don't have all of the details. The sickness seems to incubate for less than 6 hours before fatal.
And we were told it's not contagious, so like are people just rolling around?
Not so much that we've been able to discover. However, I'll allow Madame Jouet to explain that to you. For now, however, perhaps we could bring your supplies to the center of town. That's where I've instructed people to gather.
Yep.
They
You have a
are
plan.
waiting you.
Follow it.
Well, that would be our pleasure.
After that, however,
After
I'd be
you-
happy to be of any assistance in providing you information that you need. However, there's a certain procedure, and if I could be very frank with you, I'm grateful that you're here.
And if she's going to be introducing us around the town, I'm going to count this as carousing time.
Carousing.
If I carouse in a town for like 6 hours, I know it as well as if I was born there.
Just rattling around
That-
for 6 hours.
Perfect. That's a pugilist feature?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, what are you talking
I'm just
about?
having fun carousing.
Just carouse. At this point, the Grimbeards are currently like they're talking with the captain, and then they're talking with there are 3 different quartermasters that came with you on this journey, and they're kind of checking in with each
3
of them.
quarters.
And Edmund. Yes, Edmund walks over and seeing Laurelin, he gives a very respectful bow, which is funny from him because he's basically just a big hairy dwarf. Like, he doesn't wear much. He has a very tight vest of hardened leather that leaves most of his chest and shoulders bare, and they're just covered in fur, like dwarven fur. And so he gives as respectful a bow as he can. Pardon me. And he pointedly talks to you. All of the supplies are ready. Do we have a place to... Excuse me. I'm so low.
Drinking off the drop.
No, it's... anyway, I wasn't made for boats.
Yes, middle of
Do we have a... middle of town? Well, we'll bring the tents there.
We're about to be shown there by Lady Laurelin here.
Excellent. We will assemble the carts and follow you there. Perfect.
Excellent.
And you can see that the quartermasters are already facilitating that. Like, people are bringing out basically instant carts. They're separated into like 10 different pieces. They all go together super quickly, and as soon as one is put together, someone kind of there's an individual who comes over to each of them, places a hand on the back, and you see a small rune begin to glow. And the amount of stuff that they're able to load into each of these carts is something
carts
that
are
you don't
full?
really understand.
They're carts
Because they
full?
keep throwing bags and bags and bags of things into the cart, and you never really see the level of stuff grow in the back of the cart.
It's like in the video games when they're chopping wood and they put it in a pile and it just
It just never grows.
Have I seen this kind of room before?
Appears to be a cart.
Make a history check for me.
Where's my history?
First roll.
13.
Wow.
You actually have seen this kind of rune before. It was commonly used among artisans in the capital city, and you would often use it. You and your coworker would often use it in order to more easily transport supplies from your different cellars back to your shop.
Got it.
Sweet. And it is a modified rune of holding.
Okay. It's called Room Rune.
Room rune. Excellent. Otherwise called R&B room. Yes, Shaden. Oh wait.
Oh, you sent a message. It's a little too late. I don't think. Are we still at the harbor?
No, you're not at the harbor. However, I do have RuneScape music on this playlist.
Well, when we get back to the harbor, you know
Yeah.
what to play.
Anyway, so everything is assembled very, very quickly, and you begin the procession towards town. Rather than ascend into the carriage, which apparently brought her here, Laura Lynn, by the way, who is very nicely kind of bundled. The weather here is very nippy. It seems that kind of this middle of winter is very, very cold compared to what you're used to, and they just seem to be hit a little bit harder this far south. You begin winding your way through the streets, and there's a procession behind you of roughly 100 or so Chimera personnel. The carts move almost effortlessly. There's a single person to either side of each cart, and they just sort of push it along with them. It seems that whatever enchantment allowed them to store the stuff in there did not add any weight to these carts, and they just move along. Eventually, you make your way towards the center of town, and you hear whispers hurriedly hushed and cut off. And as you round the last corner, you see in the large center of town roughly 1,200 or so people currently gathered, all of them in different blocks and squares. And you see on the other side, there's a small set of bleachers set up, and roughly 60 or so children are currently standing on the various steps. And as they see you enter kind of the square, they begin singing a song. And they're singing a song. Does anyone here speak Elvish or something similar?
Yes.
Sylvan would work.
Common. Elvish.
You know one other language, I believe, Orcish, which will come in handy eventually. Okay, those of you who hear, or those of you who speak Elvish, they're basically singing a song of jubilation. They're all hooves. They are all hooves. When the festival happened, Dr. Seuss's world came here. Whoville is where you have found yourselves.
We need to find the Grinch. He's the cause of this sickness.
Oh my goodness.
the Christmas spirit from these poor.
They're dying in their sleep. It's winter right now, isn't it?
It is winter right now.
We've solved the mystery game.
Hearts became two sizes too small.
We all solved it.
How long?
12 days.
I converse with Santa.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yes, soon. Anyway. Oh, yeah.
That's how we'll learn that.
You got it.
Okay.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
the children begin singing a song of jubilation. It is not a song you've heard before. It's not any sort of traditional song. And in fact, many of the children singing are not elves. Many of them, a few of them are. However, most of them are human, gnome, halfling, dwarf. You actually see a couple of pinkish-skinned children that seem to have budding horns.
Oh wow!
Peeking out of the backs of their head. One of the girls, as she sings, droplets of water seem to pour down her face and drip onto the ground at her feet.
Those are called tears.
No.
That's sweat.
Maybe sweat, I guess. But it's the middle of winter, so probably not.
She appeared to be a
Sweaty.
genasi of some kind.
Make an insight check.
Never heard that term.
16 plus.
She is a genasi.
Oh,
Yes, you are very familiar with what genasi look like. So,
Given that.
yes, she appears to be a water genasi from what you
20 total.
from what you recognize, Cloudies. There are just a gamut of different races of people represented here in this frontier town. And it seems that from those of you who are familiar with the frontier,
Hello.
the frontier presents an opportunity to many people. Presents an opportunity to leave behind troubles from a past life, to begin anew, to obtain your own fortune by exerting your will alone. So, you find your way to the center of this town. You are immediately greeted with adulation and praise. The people here are excited to receive you. And as the Chimera personnel make their way around the corner, there are more cheers, and they're all taken aback. And Laurelyn herself looks a little bit surprised. That's much more gusto than they showed during practice.
Oh, you practiced for us?
Well,
That's sweet.
we have been struck with plague, and you are here to give aid, possibly. So,
To our best.
Wolf,
Again,
he,
disclaimer,
I'm
no promises.
he's a realist.
Chimera
I'm trying to
is not
like
responsible
wave
for any
and
after.
be like, hope is here, like kind
Yeah.
of that
Princess
like,
wave.
atmosphere.
Louis does a princess
elbow,
wave.
wrist.
Wrist with it, like mage hands, just
Oh my
like
gosh.
also
Lovely.
waving.
I'll
and, like,
do like strong man.
Her doing that,
poses.
him doing his strongman thing. Gedrin's gonna raise his staff in the air and cast fairy fire in the air like a Bubba.
Oh, that's
Quick,
cool.
use the spell card.
I
so
thought
can
you
feel
were
like
gonna
I
grab
didn't
some
waste
rabbits
money.
and like animate dead and be
Wow.
like, look how cute.
Whoa!
describe for me what your fairy fire looks like.
So
He doesn't have to. It's on the card.
No, it should be individual to each caster.
So for Gedrin,
That's
like
okay,
raises his
Ronnie,
spear and like.
Staff.
Sorry, you're right.
Wrong character.
I've been reading Storm My Record.
Of course.
He raises his staff and like kind of
Okay.
like a poof of like looks like dust, and then it's like this little glowing, like yellow glowing spores that are kind of like ebbing and
Luminescent
flashing.
spores?
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
pretty.
and they kind of just like
And this is how
swirl
The Last
in
of
a
Us
circling
begins.
cloud until
Exactly.
it is like, until it
For the next
bursts.
minute, that's what they do.
Uh-huh.
That's amazing. So, you all kind of walk further into the square, and there's like a podium set up, and the mayor kind of asks each of you to ascend the podium, and there are a number of seats there, and she kind of stands at the front of the podium, and she begins to address the town.
This is why she wanted us to come to the town so bad. I would feel bad if we just went up to the all the townspeople are waiting to say that we're going.
We don't care. Show us the body.
We're here to hear stuff.
Anyway,
But
she
you
begins
choose
to address
the
the town. Each of you are sitting, and as she begins to speak, her voice is projected, and it is amplified to where, as you see her speak, you hear underneath the amplified sound that she's speaking in a very normal tone, but some sort of magic seems to be carrying her voice to the crowd.
That's magic.
Dolby surround.
Also known as
Anyway.
thaumaturgy.
Good people, we have suffered much. Many of us have lost loved ones. Many of us have yet to find answers for those who have gone missing. There is not a person among us who has not been touched in some way by the hardships which have befallen us. I need you to know that I draw strength from you. Even more than you might think that you draw strength from me and mine. Mistside is a town filled with good people. Good, strong people. We built this town under the direction of my father 30 years ago. And not a single one of you will be abandoned to this. We have reached out for aid. And who has come? Has it been the Otar? Have they come to slay some mysterious beast which plagues us? No. Has it been the clerics in the capital city? The cosmopolitans? No. Has it been bureaucrats, aristocrats, royals?
It has not. Instead, it has been these simple folk, these heroes, which have come to aid us. And cacophonous applause erupts. She waits for it to die down. Several times she thinks that it stopped, and then it starts up again. And finally she raises her hands, and it dies. It becomes muted. The frontiers are ours. We have claimed them, and we will not allow them to push us away. And so, I would ask you to open your hearts, your arms, your homes, and your minds to these saviors which have come to us. I'm sure there's a lot of cringe going on right now behind you.
Rosamir hates it.
Yeah. And she steps to the side, gestures toward you, and now the applause is accompanied by people leaping to their feet. A standing ovation. The children are jumping and leaping on the bleachers that they're standing on, luckily made of wood, not metal, not slippery in the rain.
Next time.
Alright, is she trying to open it up for us to say something?
Not at all. No. In fact, she hurriedly walks off the stage, and the people approach.
Rosamir dips out of there.
Okay.
And he just
Make a
disappears.
stealth check.
It's tackled by several children.
11.
I if any kids are coming up to say
Wait,
hi,
wait.
I'm gonna shake their hands and compliment them
Would
on their
I-
muscles and.
Would I see how
This is how we done it.
uncomfortable?
You're just enveloped.
All the sick people come and give it to us. Would I know that Vosimir would be this, or do I see that he's this uncomfortable? I'd be able to.
He has a hood
gone.
up.
Like he's pretty.
He's had his hood up all
I'll
the time.
tell you, without even needing to make a roll, what you know of Vosimir, he is oftentimes by himself.
Got it.
He is brooding. He is very much
He doesn't-
focused on the task at hand, and
doesn't
that's it.
like praise.
We're try and step
Just
in
wants
front
to
of him
get the
and help
job
him
done.
disappear.
Anyway, so the crowd approaches and it parts, and all of the children which had been singing, as well as those who had not, immediately kind of flood around the podium on which you guys stand. Kind of an erected stage near one side of the central circle or open area of the town. Some of the parents kind of look up to you questioningly as they're about to lift children up to meet you guys, and they just all kind of extend hands towards you. Some of them simply seeking to touch you. The people here have been beaten down, but they live on.
I'm gonna minor illusion the sigil for Chimera
Oh,
above us.
excellent.
This is an ad campaign.
It is an
It's
ad
super
campaign.
is.
I'll go up and I'll
So
start
these
shaking
people
hands.
are gonna tell them, and I want them to know what name to say. So I put the Chimera symbol up there, and it's but when people come and talk to me, I'm gonna be sort of we're not the same. No, you're the real hero.
Of course, totally. Total
Yes.
politician. Excellent.
I'm gonna hand out little candies.
I
to
know
the
that
kids.
that's
Cool.
super cringe after bad
Be nice.
what is it?
Thanks for coming.
After that
Always
show.
have candy.
Tell your friends.
Real hero.
Kind of look in the crowd and see if there's anyone who isn't excited to be there. Is
Yeah,
kind of
boys.
shady.
Oh,
Is there any?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a perception check.
totally.
Good idea.
You're the real.
You're the
10.
real hero.
Okay. Yeah. Looking around, the crowd is so pressed towards you that you keep looking around for a gnome, and there are a few in the crowd, but they're not necessarily grubby, but they're dressed like simple folk, and they seem to be just as eager to see the lot of you as everyone else.
I'm gonna ask, as I'm handing out candy to the kids, every once in a while, if one of them starts talking to me, I'll ask if they've seen a grubby little gnome running around all over the place.
Okay.
Kids tend to notice little
Let's
gnomes.
just blow this guy's cover.
No. So you talk to one of them, and he's a little human boy. So of course he's a jerk.
He's in the clouds.
Compared to all the other races.
Kill him now.
What did you say?
To get to the Val
Teach
district.
the clouds.
Right, exactly.
What am I saying? Of course. What am I saying?
Anyway, you ask him, grubby little gnome, huh? And he kind of like nods over his shoulder, and you see that one of the other kids is right behind him, and he's a little gnome, and he's like two back, eager to come meet you, like bouncing from foot to foot, and a child gnome is tiny,
Yeah, I'm
Right.
gonna reach over, just like pick him up.
he's like 1.5 feet tall.
I'm gonna reach over, just like pick him up, and then put him on my shoulder.
Oh,
What's
That's
your name?
adorable.
Ask them what his name is.
The Tiny Tim.
My name is Nils.
Nils, it's very nice to meet you, Nils. Your friend here.
You are really tall.
Yes.
I feel like the air is cleaner up here.
It usually is, yeah, because it's all sweaty down there.
You need to understand, I'm underneath everyone.
I know you probably get, a lot of.
Do you know what a fart smells like?
Yeah, I do. It's common knowledge. I think.
That's really downwind, isn't it?
Now, here's a piece of
Whole
candy.
leading to down.
Do you? Do
Can
you?
you cut this in half?
For who?
Me.
Don't you want to just like eat it all at once?
I have a little mouth. My mama says I need to be
It's
careful about choking.
It's a little Jolly Rancher.
This child is very aware of his
You just
limitations.
break it in one
I
hand.
just like. Here you
From
go.
what you can tell, he's about 6 years old.
Oh, he's tiny.
So basically,
only a foot
he's
tall.
finally at the age where like he's starting to regurgitate the things his parents like have been trying to
Beat
Teach him.
into
beat
him for
into his
years.
head
Yep.
with words, of course,
Okay.
and love, and kindness,
And a little bit
And
of
farts.
and farts for everything.
Thank you for your support.
What's your name?
Louie.
Louis.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best day of my life.
I'm sorry. I mean, you're welcome.
Please don't forget to comment and subscribe.
Hit that little
Like,
bell. for
comment, and
notifications.
obey.
I'm gonna go ahead and put you back in the crowd now because there's like.
As you pick him up, like he reaches up and he puts his hand on yours, and his hand like barely fits around one of your fingers.
Oh.
It's so small. I crushed his head. Alright. I'll go ahead and just. There you go! It's like.
Crowd surf.
It's like a halo drop for him,
Oh.
like high altitude. Holy smokes!
Andy's.
Can I look around for this royalty lady
Bosomir,
that disappeared?
as you attempt to extricate yourself before the flood of people comes in, you are actually you feel someone grab onto your sleeve and pull you kind of out of view of everyone that's in the square. So all of the townspeople were in like a semicircle on one side of the square. You basically just went as far away from people as possible. Someone grabs onto your shirt sleeve and pulls you kind of behind a building. You look, and it's actually Laurel, the mayor.
I was about to pull a knife on her.
Yeah, you would have noticed because your
Okay.
keen senses.
Okay.
You noticed as soon as you were touched, it's Laurelin.
Recognize your scent.
She. Okay. It's mostly lavender, but
That's why.
anyway, she pulls you to the side. She kind of looks around and she throws back her hood, which is very nice, fur-lined. She kind of throws it back, and you notice that one of her ears is just lined with piercings. And as she kind of looks around the corner and looks back at you, there's a little bit more to Laurelin than being a bureaucrat.
What's up with the charade?
I can't let them know exactly what's going on.
That was horrible back there. I had nightmares for like a week.
What are you talking? What?
I hate crowds.
Okay. Well, they wanted to say something, or rather, they wanted to see something said. It's my job to say it.
Why are we in Sally?
Because I want to talk to you
About?
about what's going on here.
Chiz,
I have
you sound
no
like you have.
idea.
Okay, you sound like you had information.
Yeah,
So we know people are dying
some people are dying.
and
but-
disappearing. That's what we're here to find out.
About 3 weeks ago, a group of people, foresters, they went missing on the other side of the lake. They never came back.
So they crossed the lake.
They walked around the lake. Yes, that's where
Yes, they went to the
they're
other side of the lake.
foragers, they're gatherers. They
Okay.
collect supplies for people here in town, medicine.
So it wasn't
other
other
things.
thing.
No, it was a normal job.
Okay.
As she's talking to you, she's like continuously peeking back around the corner, and you see her. You actually make a perception check for me. You want to know what your perception is?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Nat 20.
You notice
Secret meeting.
as you are always aware of your surroundings, and especially because of the situation of talking to someone in a dark alleyway, you are on alert, and you notice her right hand is currently tapping fingers as if she's counting, and every few taps she's looking back around the corner. They went missing. We sent some people to look for them. We thought maybe they were set upon by wolves, wargs, some other creature, beast of the forest. It's winter and things grow hungry. Game is scarce. Well, they didn't come back either. Since then, a lot of people have gone missing. Some of them from within the town. Or at least that's where they were last seen.
Have you noticed any behavior change in the people of the town since then? Or they've been the same?
To be honest, with everyone that's been dying, and by the way, it's about one every other day. We've been so distracted by it. People are barely able to, and at this point, shit. And she kind of walks around the corner really abruptly, peeks back at you. I'll talk to all of you later. And she kind of puts her hood back up, composes herself, and walks back towards the crowd. Anyway, back to the lot of you.
Back to the glad.
I'll stay in the alleyway and just watch the crowd, looking for any strange, suspicious behavior by anybody. Look for a gnome.
Then you are... Yeah, go ahead.
Is there any flames or like braziers, or is it snow on the ground or ice? Or...
There's some slush in the corners, kind of at the easements of the buildings and things like that.
Okay.
And there are a few braziers kind of going around. Strangely, actually, no. In this part of the nation, you wouldn't have them. In other parts, mostly in the cosmopolitan areas or in the high industrious areas, they actually have street lamps which emanate heat
Oh,
to be turned on or activated during the winter or colder months.
cool. Got it.
Anyway,
So I'll change some colors on some of the lights and
awesome.
some tricks.
Sid,
Mhm.
as you're greeting everyone, you notice standing atop a few crates near the back of the crowd is a small gnomish figure. Small gnome man, no more than 2.5 feet tall. He's currently standing in nondescript clothes. Everything from cap to boot is exactly what you would expect someone to wear if they were trying to blend into a crowd. As you see him, he makes eye contact with you, drops down, and you watch as he walks off in another direction.
I would like to try and squeeze through the crowd and try to go after. I want to step behind someone, turn invisible, and follow him.
Oh, okay. So you begin making your way through the crowd, and as you notice that they're just, every step is hindered, as more and more people are now able to make contact with you and speak at you. And so, make a stealth check for me, real quick.
50.
Excellent. So you begin to grow frustrated, and so you greet someone, shake their hand, and as you shake their hand, you give them a little spin, and as they spin, now between you and the other people, you spin with them, cast your spell, and as they turn back around, you vanish, and everyone kind of gives a simultaneous, oh, and they just sort of assume that you guys can do anything. And so you kind of extricate yourself from the situation, make your way nimbly through the crowd, and begin following in the direction that the gnome went.
Okay.
Do I notice any strange behavior?
Make a perception check.
Yeah, 20.
No. 11.
No. Well, you notice as Laura Lynn approaches the podium, approaches the stage, one of her attendants kind of tugs on her sleeve, and so she leans down, and the attendant whispers in her ear, and she sort of stands up, looks a bit frustrated, and then walks up onto the stage. You notice that Sig had been looking in a certain direction before kind of leaping off the stage, and now you can't see her anymore. Claudius is having a grand old time entertaining all sorts of people. Louis just chucked a gnome boy into the crowd.
Yes. All of these were.
You heard him shout, "Go long!" No, not really.
I will.
Like he's throwing a
That's
pigskin.
underhand. That's underhand.
Tobias is
Yeah.
basically
Throw a
just
gnome
dazzling
around.
people with sleight of hand.
Okay.
Between juggling balls, knives, like various
Kids.
What's your strength?
11.
Little
No,
gnome
not
kids.
kids.
Little gnome
Maybe
kids.
gnome children.
Maybe.
But
Those
those are the two things that you know.
Okay. I lost sight of Sig, but I will sort of start making my way around to the other side of the crowd, on the
Okay.
outside, just keeping away from them, just to see if I can see anything better from those perspectives.
Okay. The rest of you.
If like 15 minutes
Gedrid.
pass, I'm gonna try to.
You notice Sig leap from the stage into the crowd, and because of this, you focus your attention on her, and you see as she kind of shakes hands with a fellow in the crowd, turns him about, turns, sees you, winks, and then disappears.
Women. Am I right?
Well, I guess now I better go.
You did see the direction she had been walking.
Okay. Let's see. I guess they're just gonna kind of just walk off the back of the stage.
Okay.
And he's pretty small and nondescript, so he's just gonna try and. Except his next shoe. Yeah, he's got nice little boots, but he's short.
As you descend the steps up to the stage, the mayor actually passes you on the way up, and she sort of places a hand on your shoulder, which causes you to stop, and then she nods in a direction away from the stage, which is directly in front of you if you were to keep walking down the stage.
Okay.
I think everything's a trap.
Gedrid's
That's
gonna
why.
Gedrid's gonna start going in that direction.
Okay.
If any
You
of
notice
my
as Gedrid starts
comrades
walking
want
in your
to
direction.
Towards me.
Yeah. What?
follow, if any of my comrades want to follow me, I just wanted to make like the general populace not be able to see me and make a big deal out of it. So, minor illusion is not concentration. I can just cast it.
Right.
I can,
And the duration is 1 minute.
1 minute.
Yeah.
So I want to make my footsteps glow behind me.
If you cast minor illusion, your invisibility falls.
Oh, right, because casting a spell, even
It's
Great.
casting
Oh
a spell.
yeah.
it's casting any spell. True.
Any action really,
Apology. Thank
except for using an object or something.
After about 10 minutes of playing with Chillins, I'm going to wander back up on the stage and look for the mayor and be like, so where,
How long has
we're
it been
going?
About 15-20 minutes
Yeah, I'm ready
of
to
just talking to everyone. As you approach the mayor, she acknowledges, yes, I think it's time we wrapped this up. She steps back up to kind of the podium, whatever, at the front of the stage, And once again, her voice seems to be amplified. Good people, good people. Have you all forgotten where we live? It's time to get back to work. Please, go about your business. I'm sure you'll have an opportunity to see them again. For those of you, however, who have been directly affected by the sickness which has plagued us, or the unfortunate disappearances, I would ask you to remain. We have had a gift extended to us. And she gestures behind you, or behind the stage, and you notice that during the 20 minutes or so that you guys have been entertaining the crowd, 3 massive tents have been set up. The walls of which are just a pure white fabric. And they've been set up kind of staggered 1, 2, and 3, kind of opposite the semicircle that the people were standing in, a reflection of that. And standing before them are all of the Chimera individuals. One of the tents, the front wall is currently folded up, and the corners of that bit that's been folded up are actually held up on upright poles out in front of the tent to create basically an entryway into a much larger tent, which is currently lined with shelves and barrels. And the people out front are currently standing there with clipboards and the like. What?
Circus.
It would look like a circus tent, yes. Much smaller in scale. The mayor kind of gestures in that direction, and after a few minutes, everyone kind of filters away except for about 300 or so people. And a large proportion being children. A few adults, mostly women, a few men, and a lot of children. They remain behind, and the mayor kind of morosely looks over them. Friends, and her voice is not amplified at this point because of the smaller crowd. Please step forward. Enjoy what solace you can find in the aid that has been sent to our town. You will find that many of the materials and the goods that have been sent for the purpose of uplifting you and yours are better than those that we've had here in this side for many, many years. Please, allow yourselves to indulge. This cannot replace or fill the grief that you feel and the void within each of you. But it will help you to rebuild the lives which have been shattered. And at that point, she kind of steps down, walks around to the side of the stage, and she extends a hand until the first of the people kind of begin walking around the stage towards the tents. Yeah.
So I know Sig isn't there, but can it be assumed that most of them are children because their parents were killed?
Disappeared. Yes.
Okay.
Either
or disappeared.
they either disappeared or they were killed by sickness.
Now,
Thanks.
quick question. I noticed there are a lot of kids here and then a few adults.
Yes.
Have the victims all been adults or have kids been affected as well?
Actually, I think they've all been adults. Fortunately.
Doesn't sound like a regular illness to me then.
Madame Jue would have more information. I've sent a runner to fetch her, most likely during the welcome. She was busy with her research.
Is she a priest or nurse or...
She's a naturalist, a medicine woman. She's, I imagine, much like your friend Gedrid here. Though different, I think.
Well, she's a woman. Gedrid's a man.
Is she a halfling?
Sort of different that way.
No?
Well, I guess she is quite different. I mean,
See, two things,
One
gender
person
and race.
character in
We're
here.
I
narrowing
read
it,
it too.
narrowing it down.
Well, I understand your intent. Indeed, common medicine woman is not what you would call a druid, but there are overlapping understandings. I would be much pleased to speak with her.
As I'm sure she would with you. Sig, you make your way down an alleyway.
'Kay.
You begin, actually make Make a perception check for me. No, wait. You have a super high passive perception.
Yeah.
You immediately notice a few small footprints kind of squelched into some of the slush and mud that has recently fallen, and they appear fairly fresh from what you can
Okay.
tell. You follow them and then into a small building which looks like it will eventually be a tavern, but it's currently unfurnished.
Okay.
It's a newer build.
All right. I'll follow the tracks in, and I would like to, like, as soon as I see movement,
Mhm.
I want to activate my bewitching charisma.
Excellent. So go ahead and mark up one use of your bewitching charisma. And those effects will last for the next 10 minutes.
That's my superpower.
Yeah. One of them.
And so I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna go. Excuse me, Totex? Pardon, we're from Chimera. I heard you were contact. And I, like, step further in, try to look very nice.
Yeah. So you look over towards, you kind of survey the roof. And very typical to the way that most taverns are set up, there's a very large open room, which you assume will be a common room. There's a wide set of stairs set directly in front of the door. And then to the right of you is what will eventually be the bar. On top of the bar are three things. There's a large barrel set atop barrel stands,
Okay.
currently with a spigot in its side. There's a mug, big people size, not little people size, big people size, something that you would normally drink out of,
Okay.
currently filled with a frothy liquid.
Okay.
And then leaning against the keg, one foot crossed over the other, in one hand, a thimble of a mug, is a small, nondescript gnome. As he sees you, gives you a wink, raises his mug,
I'm
and
assuming.
throws it back.
Okay. I'm just going. Well, he must be the one I've heard about.
What it do, beautiful?
Wow. He's a credit to his race.
Curse you. I just, like, stride up to him very confidently, not like. Anyway, I go.
Can I interest you in some libations?
Always up for a good
They're
drink.
very, very fresh.
We'll see. Let me take a taste.
All right, then.
He sort of, just with one foot, slides the mug over towards you. He didn't put his foot in the mug.
I know, but his feet's so it's gross. Anyway, I pick it up. Gosh, like, is it rancid? Is it just
No, it. Make a perception check for me.
Oh gosh.
This is a liquor check.
Okay, that's like a 26 or something.
It sincerely looks like the highest quality.
Oh, okay.
Take it all.
You know, fresh booze is usually not a good thing.
Well, I've been a long way.
I was saying that to you.
Oh.
So I I take a drink and
Oh, I understand. I got where you mean now.
yeah. So I take a drink and I go,
I meant freshly
that's
opened,
oh.
as in freshly tapped from the cask.
So
Put a couple
is this
grapes
place
in a
gonna
cup.
be yours? And I lean against the bar and look at it and I'm just like, is this place gonna be yours? It looks like it has a lot of potential.
You know what? To be honest with you, I'm mighty eager to get out of this shithole. I've seen a lot of crap over the last 2 weeks, and it just keeps getting weirder.
He reaches down, and only like 3 little glugs fill up his mug. Because it's literally just so tiny. It's like half a cup.
That voice makes me just go, Charlie.
Not at all.
So I was told you might have some information. You seem like a very keen-eyed type.
Well, are my eyes already that glazed over? I haven't been drinking that long.
Keen-eyed.
Yes, well,
A little attempt at humor. Anyway, yes, I'm very good at saying what does not normally wish to be seen and hearing what shouldn't be heard and writing it all down.
Write me down where?
In a secret place.
Can I see it?
I've been told that it's not appropriate to show it to women.
It's a weird
Write
way.
it down on your privates.
It's pretty close to that.
Let me see. I've seen worse, I promise.
All right, well, just do your best not to be shocked.
And he unlaces his trousers, and you see that actually on basically over where the appendix would be.
Scrolls it
No.
wherever.
There's a set of tattoos there. And it's
So you're, yeah, well, you're not the only one who's special, okay?
and he holds his hand up as if he's holding a quill. And he begins to write, and you see the words scribbled in the air, and they appear on his forearm.
Like Harry Potter.
I just kind of like
Write
look
on
at
paper
it.
and
Not in
Yeah.
scars
into them.
It's tattooed onto his arm.
That's
I will
very
not tell you.
impressive.
Yes, well, you don't speak Gnomish, do you?
I think I actually do.
Comprehend language.
If you do, this is going to get really awkward.
I know all the languages.
Sorry.
Pretty.
Oh, it's worse than that.
Yep, I know Gnomish.
As when you affirm, he goes,
Oh,
it says, "You've got great tits."
Oh, right. And I go, oh, thank you. So,
you can read that, huh?
mm-hmm.
You know, I've been told that Gnomish is a dying language.
Yes, well,
Not many people study it.
you know, if I was anybody else, you'd be a dying gnome right now. But I happen to appreciate a person with good taste.
Right.
So why don't we meet up? I believe any information you could give us would be more useful, say, to the group.
Right.
You know that we are part of Chimera, so is it alright if... are these rooms in working order, or at least, you know...
There's no one occupying any of the rooms in this building.
Well, obviously. I just mean, is it yours? Is anybody else going to
No one else would
interrupt
be
us if we
here.
stay here?
Those who were building it died, I think.
Ooh.
That's the
Well, that's
conclusion
perfect.
I've come to. Is that they're dead.
Oh,
Because I haven't seen them.
that's perfect.
And if I
I
can't see
believe
them,
we'll meet back here if
Schrodinger's
possible. Could
in.
I bribe you to stay here until we return?
you most certainly can try.
I'd like to turn. I can be there for space. And I'm gonna pull out 10 gold. And I'm gonna try and persuade him with a
Make
smile and a wink and
Make
some
a persuasion check.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's a good thing I had my bewitching charisma, because that is a 23.
Well, there are two constants in this world. One, I can never get enough to drink. And two, gold glitters the brightest.
And he takes it from you, pockets it, takes another swig.
I'll be here for another hour, and then I'm jumping ship. No, seriously, to get to Alpha Tyrion, I need to go by boat.
I appreciate the pun. I'm gonna leave the gold for him, and I'm going to, without trying to look hurried, I'm gonna scamper out of there.
Yeah. Make a performance check.
Great.
Don't trip.
Nat 20
Yep. Yeah.
plus, no, I want to see. So the performance is normally +8. So +8 plus the my charisma mod, the thing.
Does
So
bewitching charisma affect performance?
it affects charisma checks. Charisma ability checks.
Frick, that's amazing.
So
what's it turn
that
out to
was
be?
a nat 20 plus
So 37?
30
No, 33, I mean.
33.
Yeah. You just scamper on out of there and...
Swagger while I do
Oh,
it.
you do
It's just
swagger.
like-
by
Okay.
you.
that distracts how fast they're going.
Excellent.
Power.
And I just, when I get out, I just go like,
When you return to the square, there's a line of people that are currently being shuffled through each of these 3 tents.
Okay.
One of them seems to be an infirmary. Another seems to be where all the supplies and foodstuffs are being given away. And the third is completely closed, though occasionally someone is taken inside. And standing out front of that third tent are a number of very, very, very plainly dressed, but very friendly people. And they seem to be making their way from person to person, just sort of whispering to them and speaking to them and attempting to console them. And you get the sense that this tent is like the therapy tent. And they seem to be trying to help the people who have been affected by what's going on here to kind of cope.
Okay. Because I don't entirely know or trust him yet, I'm gonna look for Tobias.
Oh, yeah. Everyone is over there except for Vosamir.
Okay. Alright, I'll rejoin with the group.
Sorry about the detour. I found our little gnome friend. So, decided it would be best to pursue him and make him wait. So he can speak to all of us.
Did you learn it?
Well done.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's go find him.
Alright, it might be best if we wait for Volsmir.
Where is he?
I thought it was with you.
Right here.
Ah,
Just like sitting behind you
It's
guys.
like,
I was watching y'all from an alleyway.
like,
You could.
You know,
Not
being
do that.
mysterious has limits.
Find
Yeah, but
anything?
where'd you go?
I went and found the gnome. I did something useful. How about you?
I watched. Observed.
Well, and as I just start leading the way, and I try to like wind so I don't go like straight there. Well, does anybody think that speech was absurd and completely out of line?
The whole thing was unnecessary.
Did you Vosamir, say that you're just sort of pacing around everyone as
No,
you walk?
no.
Oh.
I would say she went in circles to
You celebrate after a victory, not before.
Giving hope.
Hope, not certainty.
Are you guys walking, by the way?
Yeah,
towards
I'm
the
like
tavern?
leading
Okay.
the way back over.
As you guys leave the area, Edmund kind of trots over. We'll take care of things here. You do what you do. I'm not keen on meeting that Totix again anytime soon.
You know what?
The informant.
Oh, the token.
Now, Harlan, could you...
I can
Edmund.
see way.
Or Edmund?
Mhm.
It's Edmund, okay. Edmund, could you make sure that you can gather any kind of information about what we'll be facing or what the people were doing around the time that they fell stricken?
Of course. We've actually got a team identifying those who would most likely be able to provide useful information.
Alright.
We'll gather names, and when you return, if any are still here, we'll let you question them.
Keep an
Thank
eye
you,
out
soldier.
for patterns as well. Apparently, it's only been adults who've been affected. Check for like race, age, a job occupation, stuff like that. See if there are any sort of specific groups who've been affected.
Regions they might have
Well, I mean,
visited.
Um,
We
If
don't
they went
have any
northeast
evidence
or
that they,
something
like-
into the forest.
We're
Might
taking
be
off
something
the
South
roads,
living there.
do
yeah,
we?
but-
Force of
We
Seven.
could, they could
Oh,
have just
swords.
as easily been snatched out of their beds.
Well, no, I'm talking about just the ones who were sick, not the ones who were missing. It's only been adults.
We'll plot all of the information and see what conclusions we can draw.
Thank you.
Good.
Let's go meet this Gano.
So you head over to the tavern, following Sig's directions. Fortunately, the part of the town that you are directed into seems to be almost an annex. It's a new section of the town.
Okay,
Many of the buildings are fresh built. Some of them aren't completed yet.
right.
Similar to the inn that you entered, the 4th floor, which you assume will most likely be the top floor in a town of this size, is not currently finished.
Right.
But the bottom 3 seem to be from the outside.
Okay. And I said earlier that I wanted like leave and just try not to go like directly there. Just
Gotcha.
take like an extra 10 minutes to just.
Yeah, well, the reason I mentioned it's a newer part of town, there's no one in this part of town.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Everyone who has gone back to their work, basically, has gone to other parts of the town.
Okay.
At this point, by the way, it's also about noon.
Okay.
to start our own.
So,
So we go inside.
Tavern ho. Pump. Tavern door.
I'm sorry, but we don't serve that here. That's not the kind of establishment that we run.
Wait, hold on. Is
You
the
don't
gnome the
run
bartender?
anything.
Well, there's no one else here.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
This is an empty bar.
oh, it's empty.
This is only half filled.
Ah.
I assume you
Hello,
must be
gnome.
Totix.
Oh,
Hex.
let me forget.
Your service.
Excellent.
Anyone care for a drink?
Yeah.
Actually, quite good.
What do you got?
I'd recommend it.
Bourbon.
I'll take it.
Good man.
I don't drink.
Good man.
And what do you know?
I know a lot.
What do you know?
I'd love to share it with you. I'm gonna be honest. I need a few more drinks.
Sorry.
Drink up.
That's all I've got to share. It's gonna curl your toes. A lot like this bourbon.
I'm sure you can share a drink with me, but I don't think it'll have the desired effect.
What?
He is resistance
Oh.
support.
It's more like it catches fire as it goes in.
Ah!
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
You need a.
Work.
I'm
I
actually
think you gave me an idea for a new drink.
You should call it
Fireball.
exactly. I was thinking the same
The
thing.
flaming
You
gnome.
might.
And we can have it taste like cinnamon.
Not the
Oh.
point.
God damn it, yeah. What?
Natural drink.
It's so irrelevant right now. It's so irrelevant.
Oh,
Cool.
anyway, after drinks are served, for those of you who wish to partake,
Well, here's the thing. I've got a list of people who have gone missing. I've got a list of people who have been killed by disease. The list is extensive. So, what information exactly do you want?
There was a group that went missing on the other side of the lake. Do you know anything about them?
Yeah, they were the first group to go missing. 6 of them. 4 men, 2 women, different races. All of them between the ages of 36 and 61.
Why were they leaving town?
They were foragers.
Foraging.
The forger.
Yeah, they were employed by a number of different people in the town. One's an alchemist, the other's an herbalist, and then a couple of carpenters. I imagine looking for residents.
Is there anybody that lives on the other side of the lake
There may be someone living on the other side of the lake.
that you know of?
Not that I know personally. No, I've only been here about 2 weeks.
Has
That is a
anyone,
question I definitely should have asked.
has anyone gone over there since?
Didn't we leave 2 weeks ago?
you've been here, you left a week and 2 days ago.
Oh,
So he's been here 20 days, you left 12 days ago.
okay.
So he was sent beforehand to figure stuff out.
And the weeks in this world are 10
10.
days.
That's right.
So
That's what having. Yep. Okay.
Oh, my apologies.
Oh, no, that's just me. Now.
Bigger planet, bigger orbit.
Nice.
have
Cool.
people disappeared inside the forest before? Has it been known to be dangerous?
There was the occasional person that went missing, but it turned out to be of a more mundane reason. They were mauled by some terrible beast, or they fell ill of some natural poison which they contracted there. Never to this extent.
The foragers alone? Or did they have armed escorts after they heard that others were going missing?
I reckon they were grown and they were.
Most of the people here in the frontiers can hold their own.
Have you had a chance to look at the bodies?
Which bodies?
The ones that have,
These
the ones that died of the disease.
Oh, under the disease.
Yes.
No. Madame Joy keeps them locked up tight.
Where is she located?
She's located in the northeastern side of town, and she is weird. She's a crazy old crone, but she knows her stuff.
Madam who?
Joy.
When I was living on the frontier, have I
Joue.
did I ever have anything remotely similar to this happen? People going missing all of a sudden real fast?
Never.
So,
Where could we find Laura if we need her?
you seem like you need to watch.
Well, she's probably going to be back where
Doesn't
you
seem
left her.
odd.
I imagine she's going to want to oversee all of the
It only has an
efforts.
incubation of 6
Where could we
hours.
find her normally? Where is she
That's not a
normally
very
on an everyday?
intelligent disease.
What?
Normally, you want a longer
Normally,
incubation period
she would
to
be in a
infect
town
more
hall,
people.
but to be honest,
I'm pretty sure she has some rather
Makes
unfortunate
sense.
memories of her father,
Hold on.
and so she tends to roam.
How many people have gone missing? And how many have gone missing? It's like 39 and some other.
39 have
41.
gone sick.
And
41 have gone missing.
That was
Have we
people
looked
left.
That's
Do we know
almost,
where they?
that's
were
almost
before?
Like, that could be
do
more
we,
than-
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was
It's
one
been
of the
12 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the number that have
died.
of sickness increased by 7.
Oh.
and so, have we looked for any connections between the people who have gone missing?
And 2 others have gone missing.
Between the people who have gone missing and the people who have gotten sick. Or quote unquote sick. Perhaps their relatives or spouses.
No.
Let me put it this way. You've been here a lot longer than us.
So, currently,
Have you noticed any sort of
6
pattern
deaths,
that you want to
43
tell us?
Absolutely. I have noticed a pattern.
And-
In many cases, the adults which were killed were spouses.
Ha! See, I was right.
They also, each adult that died, had at least 4 children. It seems to be an odd number.
Is that
No more, no less.
sexually transmitted?
Wasn't even number.
No.
Are you suggesting that there's some
Well,
kind of
maybe it's because I thought.
AIDS
Sorry, I thought it
spouse
was
terror?
because they had lots of children. You were
Oh,
implying that they had like. Okay, never mind.
Now,
I
is it
mixed
exactly
words.
4 children,
Wow.
or
Yeah,
At
no more,
least.
no
No,
less.
at least 4 children.
At least.
Like,
So it
At
could
least.
be more.
4 children.
larger children?
Yes, what? The frontiers towns, they have to populate themselves. So.
So, so you said all the people who have gotten sick and then people who have gone missing were spouses.
A large
Right.
majority of the people who have died
Children.
What about
have a great quantity of children.
the ones that have gone missing? Any connection there? Any patterns? The ones that have just disappeared?
I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about the ones who had gone missing.
I know.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
he said. Is
So
that
just the ones that have gone missing, not the ones that have died, is where you've seen the pattern.
Correct.
Okay.
The ones who have gone missing, not the ones who died of sickness.
Okay.
So, do you think that they might not be related at all?
It would be really weird if they were. One of them is a sickness that apparently gives you frostbite. That's just a rumor. From what I heard, someone saw a corpse, and someone was talking about it. And they talked about a terrible, terrible, deep red rash on their chest, surrounded by flaky skin, and little boys. Little boys.
Boils, not boys.
Okay.
Boils. Boils, you know, like big edema-filled,
Like boils
heard
and
little
sores.
boys.
stretched out skin.
I was somewhat concerned that they were being
Like
formed
giant
rather than
blisters.
Yes, exactly.
Uprising. We got children in the corners.
Have a
Oh, no.
paper.
We need more men.
Now, was it ever both spouses that went missing, or just one of a pair?
That was a lot of lonely children. It seemed like both.
There was a lot of orphans.
A lot of
women, too.
Hold on, just to make sure I'm getting the whole spouse thing straight. You said that the people went missing, their spouses got sick, or it's just
No.
In some cases, yes. In some cases, the man or husband or father or however you want to describe it would go missing, typically because he had a profession of being a forager or a logger, forester, things like that. And oftentimes it was their spouse who died of sickness.
see that was the pattern that I was looking
So it sounds like we need to go foraging.
for. Yeah, let's just go find whatever it is.
Or get married.
Or go look at the
I
body.
mean, I have had a few drinks, but
Yes.
I should be good. I
Is
wipe
it-
my own nose.
Have there been any foragers who have gone out and come back?
Yes, they have.
So plenty of
Right.
foragers come back.
Have
So
they
I-
seen
No,
normal when
Not
they come?
plenty.
Just
How many?
very few.
I should clarify, all of the disappearances have happened on the other side of the lake, or here in town. Nothing has happened north, nothing has happened west. Very few things have happened south.
Are they all nearby the lake or no?
The town is situated on a lake, so yes.
Yes,
So
I
it's
know,
all
but the
on the east side.
disappearances on the other side
So
are those close
Actually,
to the
there
water?
were
I
two
think we need
individuals
to-
who disappeared off of the lake.
Itself.
Yes, fishermen.
Okay.
I
Alright,
think we need to
But
speak to
those two
this,
individuals
Joey.
were both part of a
Yeah,
larger
speak
crew.
to Dewey, look at the dead bodies, and then maybe speak to some of the foragers who have come back.
I'd
from
like
that
to
area
talk to
and
another
then go
informant
forward.
of mine.
Oh.
I'd like to talk to another informant of mine as well. We all should.
But
All right.
Also kind
Lead
of
us
seems
to them.
use us.
Yeah, let's go.
Right,
will.
but if this is gonna be all, I can't take this with me because even though we've had a lot to drink, it weighs more than I do. So it's not gonna fit as a carry-on. I'm gonna go.
Okay.
All right,
Anything
then.
else?
Is there anything else you have to provide that you feel is pertinent?
Let's see. And then over that. Oh, yeah. Get out of here as soon as you can. This place is going to the hells. In a handbasket. Very quickly.
Are things
Okay.
that bad?
Well, there's a lot of people dying. And here's the thing. The number keeps going up. I'm worried that there's a number that is trying to get to. But hey, that's just me being a conspiracy theorist.
I didn't understand.
DM
conspiracy
spirit.
theory.
What's that on your arm? That writing.
Does anyone else speak Gnomish? Do you?
No.
Okay, good.
Just something I want to remember for later.
Pertinent?
No,
Very,
no,
very to the later.
no,
Very
Nope.
hurt.
no, not at all. It's fine. No, go. I thought you were leaving.
Well, yeah, I'm short. It takes me a long time to climb down from the shelf here.
Come on.
I'll help him down.
Thank you.
It's
Your hands are very warm.
Hot. Anyway, he kind of scampers out drunkenly.
One thing.
just take like another
Dead
like.
in the street.
You hear like the crunching of something hitting freshly fallen snow. One of you peeks outside. He's just like face first in the snow outside.
Is it as deep as him?
No,
Can't
not
see
that
him
deep,
anymore.
because it's just like slush.
Alright.
And
But he passed out.
no, he's semi-conscious. He's like, whoa. He gets up and eventually makes his way back towards the
Misjudged.
harbor.
Did he
Yeah,
drunkenly
exactly.
forget the 10 gold I gave him?
Oh no, he pocketed it as soon as you gave it to him.
Okay.
Let's go see
Look at them dead bodies.
Now, wasn't the mayor having her come over to those tents?
I don't believe so.
We'll find it, maybe.
That's hilarious.
What are you looking at me for?
I go to the tents.
Do I remember if she was being called over to somewhere?
Yes.
You don't remember that. Gedrid and Vosamir remember that.
She did mention that she was going to send her over there.
Oh, let's go back to the jet.
To the tents.
To the stairs we go.
So much.
After you.
After a short walk, you make your way back to the tents. At this point, the line outside the main tent is very, very short. It looks like most of the people have been served at this point. You see a number of children kind of sitting over on the stage, like sitting on the edge of it, kind of kicking their feet a little bit. And they're like looking into these very nicely packaged brown paper sacks. Louis and Gedrid, make perception checks for me.
God.
Really cool.
Do I still see the mayor?
She's still there. Okay. She's talking to the Grimbeards.
I'll go join them.
16.
19.
Okay, Gedrid,
Dang it.
you perceive the unmistakable stench of brisket.
I was gonna say it's brisket bags again.
It's brisket bags.
Oh boy.
And they are greasy and dripping, and the children are covered in them. And they love it.
Actually sounds really good.
Darn.
I should have had
Brisket sounds so good right now.
I'm hungry. Advantage on that.
So,
Cookie was on
the lot of you
the
may-
riverboat the whole
I
time.
have
She
a
didn't
pot.
say nothing.
She didn't
I
say
tell.
All I have is
Turn your nose in that
Sorry.
direction.
pot. I'm like, what?
I smell
That'll make me more hungry.
barbecue
Brisket.
brisket. All right. If you'll excuse us, you'll have fun talking to Mrs. Juice Bottom, whatever her name is. I'm gonna go
What?
grab Dewey, that's it. I'm gonna go grab us some goodie bags. I go towards the goodie bag.
If anything comes up, you tell them that your parents went missing.
They'll get used to it.
I don't think I ever will.
Alrighty.
I try to.
Oh, I would love to roleplay that.
You'll get used to what? Me eating food? Yeah, you better.
No, that's not what I meant. I meant you playing out his suggestion. That would be hilarious.
No, I'm just mad.
I will go over to the Grimbeards and the mayor,
Perfect. I imagine most of you, minus
Yep.
Louis, do the same.
and I'll inquire as to where Julie is,
Ah,
what she looks like.
well, I imagine you made contact with someone that you were expecting to meet here.
Mm-hmm.
Good, good. That's what I would have done myself. Anyway, this has been a lot of good. This has sincerely been a lot of good. I was able to fetch Madame Jouet. She's waiting in one of the nearby tents. Apparently her bunions were getting cold.
But
Yes, they bother her, apparently.
poor thing, I might be able to
And
take
you're
a
off
look
getting
at
like brisky.
that. No.
Oh.
Just me.
Just Louis. Louis going to the mess tent. Okay. She kind of ushers you over, and this is the tent where all of the flaps are down. It's a bit larger than the other ones, probably to accommodate for it not being an open-sided tent. As you enter it, it is very, very warm. Very warm. There are a couple of magical braziers in each of the corners, and kind of lining the aisleway. The tent itself, as you walk into it, is much, much larger on the inside than it is on the outside.
A lot of spatial manipulation in this camp.
So, on the inside, the tent appears to be about 80 feet long. On the outside, it was only about 30. You kind of enter the tent, and immediately there's a couple of what do you assume to be clerks. They're dressed in fine kind of outfits of white and light blue. Each of them carrying a clipboard. One of them hustles over to you noiselessly. You look down and they're wearing soft, like linen slippers. Yes, I believe you are here to see Madame Jouet. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Please remember Madame Jouet. Yes?
It's not Jouet. It's Julie.
Oh shoot, I'm sorry,
I'll
it
be
is
there
Jouet.
shortly.
Yes.
I was gonna say Jewy.
So weird.
Jouet. Yeah, Jouet.
Madame Jouet.
Okay. I will direct you to her.
Thank you.
Brace yourselves. And he kind of about faces, and his buddy pointedly takes a step back and lets him pass, and he's just sort of like,
Nope.
Not gonna be me. He leads you down about 30 feet to an open section, and much like the infirmary that you were in when you went to Scarstead, it is sectioned off by linen drapes that sort of form three-sided cubicles up and down the length of either side of this tent. The cubicle that you enter is wide enough. It's about 10 to 15 feet wide, and it's about 15 feet deep as well, which goes beyond what you would have anticipated was possible inside this tent. And sitting on the opposite end, in kind of a ladder-back chair, is a crone of a woman. Just life
Drain.
attempted to reject her, and she fought back.
No.
And she is just covered in just saggy skin. And she's currently holding a cup of some sort of steaming liquid, you assume to be tea of some sort. But it gives off a terribly pungent, odorous smell. And she looks at each of you in turn as you enter, and she uncrosses her legs, and the foot she places on the ground is bare, and you see a massive bunion growing out just behind her big toe. It is huge, humongous. And you notice her slipper, which is next to that foot, has a space cut out of it for that bunion.
Oh gosh.
Excellent.
Since you
I imagine y'all are here to see Madame Jouet. And what exactly can I do for you?
Well, Jay, you have perfectly ascertained the purpose of our visit.
Well, it's not just anyone that comes to visit Madame Jouet. It's only those that come seeking the truth.
True.
We are here to see the bodies.
Oh, I love the macabre sense coming off of this one. What exactly?
What is this creature?
How's the voice?
Magic, okay? She's magical. I want to be her when I grow up. She's
I sent you a good
Now,
Madame Jouet, so.
Madame Jouet, where are the bodies? Or what would you like to say to her parents?
Okay, if you can't send me YouTube stuff,
What? Why not?
because then there's.
You spelled her name terribly.
I don't know. How am I supposed to
I
know?
told you. J-O-U-E.
Oh. Well, I was
Oh,
getting
wait.
brisket.
Oh, I was so close. I did J-U-O-E.
It's spelled French.
I was like, just literally just so
That's
close.
how you know.
I didn't even hear him either when he
She's
said
so
that.
extra.
Wait
I
till
love
she
her
is
So
much.
extra.
I love
So
her.
good.
So, this is gonna be Elena when
What he
she's
said.
80.
Old
I'm so excited.
It's Kume.
Okay. Anyway,
She would think
No
that's
one
hot.
comes to Madame Jouet
Mom.
unless they
Yes.
be seeking the truth.
You know, Louisiana.
Uh.
Mama Jouet.
All right, what's
What
the
have you
truth?
What have you noticed from the bodies? Anything in particular that?
Well, I'll tell you right now that what's been happening to these bodies here, it is fantastical. It is mysterious. It is enigmatic.
Like Kentucky Fried Chicken?
What?
Baby,
It's
I don't know what that is.
Mysterious 6 flavors or 60s.
Now, what are y'all here after?
We're here after the cure, and we're probably gonna have to kill something to do it.
Well, I
Sounds
wish
about
I had
right.
met someone like you when I was. Anyway.
That
What are you
ended
talking right now,
mysteriously.
Dom? You've still got it going on.
Yeah, what?
All right.
Damn straight, I still got it going on. I didn't say anything about me not having it going on. It's just this little halfling here
Uh-oh.
couldn't handle the half of me.
Back to the topic on hand.
I think that's precisely where she wants it.
Can we see the
On
bodies?
Well, you want to see the bodies. And here, I'm inclined to ask you a few more questions.
Ask away.
What exactly is your... You don't look like you belong here.
I
Yeah,
kinda
he's
feel like
new.
I don't belong.
It's his first day.
Definitely feel like they don't want it.
Interesting.
It's his first day.
I'd be interested to know exactly what it is you think you can contribute to this here inquiry.
You know Tobias?
Madam, he's got a brain bigger than all of us combined.
He's just a regular elf, isn't he? Why are people so racist towards him?
He's an elf.
Elves are
He's
noble.
full-blooded.
Yeah, they're noble.
They're no like just all the pretentious undertones.
Doing a favor for someone.
A favor.
Yeah.
A favor done sometimes leads to another favor owed. And I may need to ask a favor of you soon.
Him in particular or us?
No, all of you.
Okay.
But I will phrase it towards him.
Would you like to ask your favor now, or should we get the truth about those who have perished, Madame Jouet?
As you ask your question, Madame Jouet instantaneously goes from a seated position to standing in front of you, as though not crossing the distance between. You notice that she's now wearing her slipper, bunion poking out.
My dear, I feel that a lot of you have a glorious story to tell. And now, I feel that we should be looking at some bodies.
I agree.
I do not
Dead
like the
bodies,
bitches.
please.
What'd you ask?
Oh.
Dead bodies, please.
Well, there ain't no other kind, darling, but the dead ones are the most fun. For examining, anyway.
She immediately starts briskly hobbling down the hallway. As she gets a few feet down, she reaches to the side, and zipping into her hand is just this gnarled, like, walking stick. I almost forgot my stick. And she just keeps walking down the hallway. Well, come on now.
Has the cure wounds.
You follow Madame Jouet. She will show you the bodies.
The way.
I wasn't going to say that. Come on. That's what you would expect.
And she hobbles forward. Do I consider that if there's any kind of magic out there I know that could heal her sad bunyan?
Maybe
Yeah.
Death.
There are a couple.
Death.
Make an Arcana check.
I recommend death.
Oh, that's
Instant
pretty good
cure
roll.
of all diseases.
So touch. Freeze.
Yeah, right. Like a wart. Just
That's
instant
a
freeze it.
19.
not like a wart.
Yeah, so you have heard of magics
Mhm.
that are capable of
Healing bunions.
regenerating
The
body
bonfire.
parts.
Are they with? Oh, so be something much out of our. Okay.
It's definitely something that you don't currently feel you'd be capable
Got it.
What race is she?
of. Human.
Is she
Does she?
skinny or?
She's hunched, so it's kind of hard to tell. She has dark, wrinkly, like someone unearthed ancient papyrus wrinkly skin, and it looks to have the same integrity. Like you're pretty sure that someone flew on her and her skin would just like fall apart.
That gross.
What were you gonna say there?
Does she seem more than human?
Make an insight check.
12.
She appears to be a mystical, weird old woman who probably spends a lot of time digging through swamps.
Sweet.
What
Um,
her age at?
So when we arrive at the site,
Somewhere between 60 and 90.
that's such a.
Oh, yeah.
She's like
Oh,
actually
That's not
25.
That's how she be.
Okay.
So, Madame Jouet leads you on a walk through town. She avoids most of the puddles that she sees. Some of them she's not really capable of avoiding. But
I'll move them out of the way with the shape water.
yeah, after the first one she steps in, you move the next one aside, and she sort of gives you a little wink. Madame Jouet is very appreciative of a chivalrous man. Jesse, you're such a bad influence. Anyway, she leads you on about a 15-minute walk through town. You notice overhead, by the way, that some light clouds have gathered and a beautiful snowfall has begun. Very light, and through some of the more populated areas, you see children kind of gathering outside, and they kind of just stand there with their mouths open wide, and anyway, all that stuff. They start catching snowdrops. She kind of leads you past, and wherever Madame Jouet goes, anytime children see her, they make like this rattling sound. It's really, really weird, and it seems like a little bit guttural, but they kind of like do it as a cheer. And she always seems a little bit both pleased but also frustrated by it. Dang, children, call me old. Madame Jouet don't get old. The world just gets younger. She just keeps going. That's right. She just keeps going.
Oh, no, all of us are.
She like realizes that all of you are there.
Whatever makes you get up in the morning.
Right. Anyway, you finally reach a street no one is on. It's a wide street. It looks like it should be a thoroughfare, but all the traffic seems to be diverted around it. And in the center, on the left side of the street, is just this old building that looks like it is leaning so far to one side that you're not sure what's holding it up. It like bodies. The timber appears rotted. It appears frayed. It's basically like, did you guys ever see the movie Monster House?
Right.
Yeah. So when it gets to like its final ultimate form, and it's just like got all the splinters of wood flying everywhere. Like that's what it looks like. And she just walks right up the front steps, and as she goes, she takes a step, and one of the floorboards starts creaking. She takes her stick and she smacks it, and all of a sudden it like grows a little bit stronger underneath her, and then she keeps on walking. You recognize this as druid craft, Gedrick. She kind of just keeps on walking a little bit, and as she walks up to the doors, they kind of fly open on their own, which you also would recognize as a gust cantrip. Claudius. You would recognize it as well, see, because you have access to that, I can imagine. Exactly. Well, come on now. Madame Jouet has some bodies to show.
I feel like
I promise it did.
not doing what she says has consequences. Just following.
I feel like we're obligated to listen. Okay, you follow her inside, and she takes you down a flight of stairs, and the temperature grows so cold. You make it to the bottom floor, and all of a sudden, like the old ricketiness of the building disappears, and it's like perfectly manicured stone. The pillars are like precisely set in place. The craftsmanship that went into this particular section of the house is amazing. And the first thing you see is there are 4 long tables set up adjacent to one another with some space in between. There are 4 bodies. Now, these are the ones that I was working on most recently. They were brought to me 5 days ago. All 4 of them dead in the same night. It's a little peculiar. But Madame Drew has seen worse.
They all show the same signs.
Identical. That's do you want to see?
Yes.
All right. So there's 3 men and a woman. Each of them are bared to the waist, and each of them also has a small incision that's been made just above the heart.
I would like to cast Detect Magic to sense if there's any kind of magical residue or whatever left over from if it's an enchanted disease.
Gotcha. So you cast Detect Magic, and the range is a 30-foot radius, correct? Okay. Make sure you mark off your spell slot.
Yep.
As you cast Detect Magic, aside from the magic which all of you kind of wear about your person, there are 4 points in the room which light up. Each of them are situated near corners of the room, down near the floor. And as you examine each of them, they actually give off kind of like a spray of snowflakes around them. And they seem to be what is generating the temperature of this room.
So an evocation kind of magic.
Correct.
All right. And nothing about the bodies?
So the
Nothing on
bodies
the
are
bodies.
currently covered?
No,
No.
just the waist.
They're bare to the waist. All of them are wearing some sort of pant, or in the woman's case, like a mother's skirt.
Okay.
And they each have an incision about 4 inches long directly over the heart, which on most of them, I mean, the bodies have been dead for about 5 days, and they've been kept cold. So like their skin is very taut, but in the areas over their heart, the skin is red and blistered and beginning signs of necrosis are there. Though it appears that now that they're deceased, the necrosis is not spreading, obviously.
I'd like to take a closer look at that.
Yeah. Maybe too.
Okay.
He wants to basically just inspect the wound and see what kind of wound it is,
Oh,
what kind
that-
of caused it.
You up to see better?
Thank you.
Give him a box.
Okay. So you head over to one of the tables, and the first one you come to appears to be a human man. He's slightly graying in his beard, though he looks maybe to be mid-40s, early 50s. Very, very strongly built. And if you were to, when you ask Madame Jouet, kind of announced him as a woodcutter and a forester part-time. So he was found on the edge of the forest on the other side of the lake, the Adzor Lake, and his body was recovered and brought to Madame Jouet 5 days ago. As you look over the body, make a medicine check.
Do you have the type of magic that allows you to ask dead questions?
No, man.
Madame, have you
total?
Nice.
inspected any other parts of the bodies other than the heart? The infection?
And some of the first bodies I've been.
Everything checked out?
Nothing else was off about those unless it was a pre-existing condition.
Okay.
However, each of the bodies bears identical signs regarding the affliction. Gideon, as she's expressing herself to Bosmir, you reach over and you kind of grab one of her implements, and it's very, very finely made, basically like a curved fork. And you grab it and place it in the incision and kind of just tug it to the side a little bit. And what you see inside is an ice blue crystal in place of their heart. As you kind of mess around the entrance, the wound a little bit, you recoil from the cold emanating from this crystal.
Okay. Kedrid immediately, stands on the table and kind of whips his staff around and is pointing it at Madame Jouet and he says, I don't know, kind of in an exclamation, what is in place of the hearts on these corpses? And did you have anything to do with it? Now you will tell me the truth.
I certainly like myself in a certain man. Madame Julie didn't have nothing to do with putting these things in there. And I haven't been able to pull any of them out either. You see the fuse to the spine on the other side. The hearts are there, but they are now crystal. Not only that, they'll give you a nasty bit of frostbite. And she holds up her left hand, and one of her fingers is just completely black for the first digit and a half.
Now, does that spread, or has it been spreading at all?
It's about 3 weeks old.
Alright.
So now,
I'm going to take a closer look and see if the detect magic senses anything about the ice crystal itself.
yeah, there's a super faint glow towards the heart, like what you would perceive to be the center of the crystal. But there's the only way I can describe it as far as its source is elemental. It doesn't necessarily fit with any sort of school of magic.
Weird.
Does he know if it seems to it was coming out from the heart, or it was there was something that happened and then it started to freak out?
Are you asking if he
I'm asking because I'm just he wrote.
You can ask him.
Does it seem to be emanating from inside, or is there
heart tab.
Or were they struck?
Were these incisions on the corpse before?
I made the incisions, however, each of them had a perforation already in their chest, directly above the heart.
They was
It seems that when the heart went crystalline, it also grew. And each of them had a tiny bit of crystal poking out through their skin, which I imagine is what caused the frostbite.
So it might not be a sickness exactly, it might be more of
I don't know what
an
kind
attack.
An attack? Well, that's something that we thought of before, but this is so strange.
Would I know anything
Well, I mean,
about
the
any
spouses
elementals
go
that could do
missing.
this?
And then suddenly the person who holds their
Make
heart,
a nature check for me.
theoretically or metaphorically, however you want to put it, suddenly they have something stabbed in their
23
chest and they're cold and dead.
You don't know of any. The only elementals that you could think of that would have anything close to this have not ever been seen on this plane of existence. You have heard of a variant of water elemental that is capable of instantaneously turning things into ice, but nothing that would be able to reach into another creature and turn a specific part of their body to ice.
I'll relate this to the crew and maybe perform an experiment, maybe speak some primordial towards it, see if there's any reaction.
Like
What's the
trying
part?
to speak its
You
command
speak
language.
primordial.
Which is the language of elementals. There are dialects for each one of the elemental planes, but
Trying to see if you can command it.
How long have you had the character sheet?
you never know with elementals. They look inanimate, but they might be living, so you never know if it's something alive
so
or
you
that
just
the
speak-
magic might respond to it.
So you speak a few phrases in primordial. No discernible response.
Okay.
That was very creative.
Madam Julie,
Yes.
just one question for you. What happened to? Did you get any kind of description of what it was like when the corpse's moment of death?
Oh, well, screaming mostly, from what I've been able to ascertain from the stories which have been told.
And how long did that take?
Well, moments.
Long. So was it like they was fine and then suddenly they're screaming and then dead?
That's exactly the case. It appears that the transformation happens almost instantaneously, but it is long enough that they feel what's happening. And apparently the end of it is a little bit of this crystal pokes through their skin. Passes the frostbite. I don't think the frostbite kills them. I think it's the fact that their heart becomes crystal.
That pains.
So the crystal only poked out of them at the end, then.
That seems to be the crescendo, or rather the climax.
Alright, so at the time of them getting sick, there was no actual incision.
Oh, it's not like
You don't. I'm sorry. Maybe I haven't done a good enough job explaining. No one shows any signs of being sick, except they begin complaining of being cold.
that's
Well,
pretty
and how do you
normal
know
in
the
winter, too.
incubation time's only 6 hours?
Gathered enough stories.
Well, I think we need to go investigate the other side of the lake.
I agree.
I think we've got them as much as we will from here.
I'd like to try one more thing, and I've got a ritual, and might try casting Identify.
Okay.
On the crystal?
Yeah, I'm gonna ritual cast it, so I pull up the spellbook and get going.
So 11 minutes pass. You cast Identify just on one of the crystals, correct?
Yeah.
Because it's one item. Okay. There does not seem to be any magic to identify.
Got it. So it's a residual effect and not transforming it into
Correct.
a magical artifact or some kind or another.
Sun goes in.
It's about 1, 2 o'clock now.
Yeah. Yep. So it's just about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
We should go talk to one more person before we think about our next plan. I'd like to lead everyone back to the mayor.
Okay.
And if everyone's coming, right?
Alright,
Alright. I'm assuming she's gonna still be at the tent, so that'll be the first place I check, I guess.
Yes. So the first place you would think to check would probably be back at the tent.
Yeah, so I tell everyone to stay outside of the tent and I go in. Is she there?
She's still there.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is she talking to anyone in particular? What's she doing?
No. She's just sort of standing off to one side, observing. A few of her attendants are there.
Very
That's not what I wanted. I wanted mysterious. I found that under the wrong playlist. Anyway, a few of her attendants are there, but they're sort of standing off, and it looks like she's probably in a mood where she wanted some isolation.
Okay. I'll get somewhat close to her. I'll walk over, but not like directly next to her, and I'll try to whisper to her and say, "You said you wanted to meet."
Yes, maybe we could find some place private.
My group is ready. Where would you like to meet? When?
Let's meet, we'll meet at my home.
Here. And she kind of wiggles her fingers a little bit, and an image pops up in front of you. And it seems to be like a 3D rendering of the town.
Okay.
And on it is a little blip of red. This is my home. Think you could find that?
Yes.
Very good. I will see you soon.
Okay.
She exits, and her attendants follow with her. And this time, she does get in her carriage, and her horses pull her off towards her home.
I'll come out of the tent and. All right. I know where to meet him. Let's go.
Alright.
I will lead everyone to where that little blip on my mini map is.
Alright, so we're gonna ask someone else some more questions without going to look at this place first.
Well, the other side of the lake's gonna be a trip.
Like a full day thing.
Yeah, and it's already almost.
Well, so it's 3 miles in diameter. So,
So
it would be about a 3-hour hike to get to the other side. You might be able to find transportation there that could get you there significantly faster. But whether you do it today or tomorrow is up to you.
Or we could take a boat.
Yeah, we could.
Some people were trying, whatever it was, trying to snatch people off
I'd
of the
rather
boat.
not
So
be stranded out in the middle of the lake if we get attacked.
ice canoes are pretty handy for traveling.
I'm talking about the folding out boat.
Are you sleeping?
Just waiting.
As you're walking over to the destination, the clouds overhead grow a little thicker, snow grows heavier. More people are outside now, mothers as well as children, and they're just like snow day. They're just like kids are building forts, having snowball fights. Mothers are like smiling while they chastise their children, like, "Oh, you kids," sort of thing, and everyone's just.
Did we head over to the manor?
You're going over to the mayor's personal home.
Okay.
Not to the
What
town hall.
has Louis been doing this whole time?
Yeah, I went to go get brisket, and then I came back out, and y'all were gone, so
I thought we got him before we
I'm
went
wondering.
to Joey's. Like that was the
I
assumption.
apologize. I completely thought we had collected you.
no, that's why I was silent the entire time.
I was like, is Shaden bored? What's going on?
No, it's because
I mean, he probably is bored.
I wasn't there.
I'm sorry. My assumption was that you just.
Would you have stayed there?
Stayed where?
So
At the
when
tents.
we went back to the tents, we were inviting you then.
Yeah, I mean, I assumed I was gonna find you, but you went to the tents. But then you went to the tents, and you're like, all right, to the mayor's house. So I'm just imagining Louis walking out of a tent, and then you're gone. All right.
I bet if we go back to the tents and we go to collect him,
Yeah.
my brain imagines you like wrestling with the kids during the snow.
Just letting like 3 or 4 of them tile on you.
Yeah.
I'm probably just sitting there trying to eat brisket, and they're climbing on top of me, and I'm just like,
Oh man, that's like my life. Anyway, you collect Louis. Sorry, Louis.
I have returned with briskets
For all of us?
for all of you.
He
Here's-
smells delicious.
Here's, they each have a honey biscuit and coleslaw.
What about a cookie?
And a cookie.
I think that
I
this is a
freaking
good
eat
time to
that.
take
We
a little
haven't
break.
eaten like
Okay.
all day.
We've collected the missing party member. You're on your way to collect what is hopefully your last set of clues, and then on to a resolution.
We'll be back after these commercial breaks.
Okay.
Quick YouTube video.
I'm sorry that tonight's going to go a little bit later than we normally play. Obviously, since we started later and it took about an hour to set everything up.
No, it might take me a while to get home tonight.
Yeah, you left her.
Can I use the paper plate?
Yes. Yeah, there it is.
We'll just get that pork butt out. We'll just cook that.
They're pork chops.
Pork chop?
Chop.
Yeah.
Who wants pie?
I do.
Me.
Dude, hey,
I
how's
think
this
the
working?
easier question
Pretty good,
is
it's
who
good.
doesn't want pie?
Still going. So.
No, no one.
No one. Everyone wants pie. Good.
No one does not want pie.
Excellent. That is the correct
Because
answer.
no one is a poor person. And we just listen. So I gotta say though, one of the great obstacles of having access to 20 level 1 spells is remembering that I have access to them.
That's a lot of that's a lot of spell.
It's just like, what is it? Jaden has fallen asleep.
No, he's not asleep. Don't worry, we're getting to the exciting stuff now.
This was the exciting
And
stuff.
the whole,
Madame Jouet.
the whole thing has been exciting, yes.
Waters,
I'd love one.
I have an unfortunate aim for the head, so I apologize if that was a little bit.
Years of practice. Getting ready for the zombie apocalypse.
No, it's just how my underhand works. Really ticks my brother Kyle. It would tick anyone off, really, getting smacked in the face. Really impressed at how well this is working, Scott.
I hope it's working. It appears to be.
I've been watching it. We've had a couple of people comment.
Yeah, I've seen
Seriously?
Wait, really?
It's Derek.
Oh.
He says first.
Is
The chat's right there.
it really?
Yeah, first. First remember.
Can we find us forks, husband?
Oh my god.
Enough for all of us?
We've had two viewers, concurrent viewers.
That's you and Jesse.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or Scott.
One's me, one's this dude right here.
Oh, it is.
I think.
Somebody
All right.
liked it.
I don't know.
Somebody
everybody's
subscribe to
whipped
Scotty.
cream Preferences, so I'm just gonna put like a huge dollop on the side.
What's
Like a
that?
1-to-1 pie to whipped cream ratio.
What is our symbol?
By mass.
Yeah, I like mine. You can't even see the pie.
Forks.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what
put
Carson
them on the table.
Yeah.
Where?
Oh.
To the DM first.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Gracias.
It's
Hey,
good
water
whipped cream.
for
It's homemade.
So
That's what
it's
she said.
pumpkin cheesecake. So remember, it's not a pumpkin.
It's not a pumpkin?
If anybody does need to use the restroom, Esther is asleep. You can still use it though. Quiet. Just be quiet.
Andrea, this is delicious.
You like it?
It's amazing.
Good.
I normally do not like pumpkin pie, but this is really good. Doesn't she look gnarly?
Oh my god! Oh my goodness!
Surprised Jue or something. She probably looks like one.
That was the intention.
I know. I was like,
Yeah,
she looks like one.
I know.
Yeah.
Which ones? What about Julie?
He was just saying that Madame Jouet, he was like, is she a hag? Is she a hag? I was like, I did that on purpose to make her look like a hag.
She's a southern hag.
And she seems
You know who she's based on?
Who?
Mama Odie.
Yeah, Mama Odie from...
Yeah, Princess of the Frog.
Nice.
Yes. I was getting some mad Mama Odie.
Oh, you heard that part.
Did the word cheesecake pull you out of your slumber?
Nah, that's alright. I just like passed out at 9. Oh.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing? Give me a hug.
You know that's a normal thing, right? Passing out at night?
What?
That's normal to pass out at night.
Yeah. You know, you like take a really warm shower and then you're just like
Oh yeah.
super relaxed afterwards. That's one.
So I had Detect Magic already stored in my Ring of Spell store.
No.
It's a really handy spell to have on the ready.
Oh yeah.
And
Shaden, those magic items work, by the way.
the forks are on the table.
Oh.
They decided what they're going to do.
Someone else? Hi?
Shaden probably wants some.
I'll take some.
Oh, Scott. And Dirk.
You can just put it right there. Okay. Everyone's down to 4. Oh.
We're grounding
Four.
ourselves.
Whoever you get us to.
Here, give us just
Remember, the whipped cream's gonna be a little denser because it's
Jesse or Scott?
It's magnificent.
It's
excellent.
whoever gets it first. This is amazing, honey.
Check.
Scotty doesn't have one.
Yeah.
She roasted the pumpkins herself.
Wow.
Who else?
Are they?
Give that one to Scotty.
Thank you so much. Oh, we're the best.
Shaden, did you get yours yet?
You don't want one.
It's
You want
really
one?
good.
There's a slice for you if you want it, Shannon.
Yeah.
It's such a chore, but he'll eat it.
How's your back doing, buddy?
It's been rough.
How's your sister?
It's been rough.
Also, there's now a bowl of whipped cream available for
Just eating.
snitching. Fork.
So what did you put on your spell list?
Spells.
What is this whipped cream?
It's homemade.
Oh.
I put it on the side because I don't. Everybody likes different amounts of whipped cream.
I used 90% of what you gave me.
Did you eat all of your cinnamon
Excellent.
rolls?
It wouldn't have been good if that's all that.
The
How's the
cheesecake
audio,
was
Scott?
a good idea.
I think it's good.
So I can contrast it pretty well.
You want to tune in real quick?
Yeah.
I've been.
Okay.
Who's buying?
How is it?
The picture is fine.
Audio?
Right?
I put it on the side because I don't. Everybody likes it.
Definitely not like
It's
best
very. It's
acoustic.
clear that it's from a single mic
But when
and not a sound control room.
Yeah.
Cheesecake's a good idea.
I tried having 2 mics. I found out that the person who's closest gets that mic first, and then the other mic gets the person like a split second
Oh,
later,
yeah.
so it sounds like echo. Like crazy.
Reverb.
We'd have to like adjust the mic pickup level to where it doesn't pick up what's on the other side of the room.
This is great.
Yeah.
Adjust enough to
Does
what
anybody want more whipped
how much
cream?
people are yelling
No, it should be a good thing.
and the volume of the room, I think
Good.
it's really hard.
Sokka's gonna have
Yeah.
some really
I
nice.
think we need to have individual layers.
So.
Okay, eat fast so we can get back to this.
And
Shouldn't be too onerous a request.
And Goliath had been kidnapped. They were low level, so they couldn't do revival. Revivifying time. Well, they didn't even have that prepared. They could have.
Huh? We get an excellent view of you.
Really?
So Brad, see the side of your face.
If you don't have level 3 spells yet.
Nice.
What's the uptime right now?
Get some general.
2 hours and 50 minutes.
I wrote this group of adventurers into the story I'm writing, and they're simply called the Church.
Mhm.
And so, like, whenever you have something bad happen, you call on the Church, and like their thing is like, we're the ones that answer your prayers, not the gods. And, like, that's like their thing.
Nice.
And I thought it was real edgy, kind of like, we are the Church. That was fun.
I mean, it's not too hot out there.
No.
Still left, Justin.
Oh yeah, these are his kennel. Because he's being a church.
It's a good game company.
Huh?
I like it. As it feels when the Uncharted theme song came on.
Yeah.
I'm in love.
Respect lots of memories.
Which theme song?
The Uncharted
That's
theme
a
song.
great spot of
I cried at the end of that series.
I never played the fourth one.
I can't wait to see.
Like, it wraps it up so well that it's just like,
I thought the fourth was the prequel. Oh, is that the third?
no, none of them are prequel. It's just one.
The third one has
Or-
prequel elements.
The
Because you
Yeah.
play as young.
well, fourth one does too.
Alright.
You play as a teenage
That's right.
before he runs off to.
I'm
travel the
liking
world.
Bosamir,
When
by the way.
When he's at it,
When that one came out, Tom Holland announced that he really wanted to play Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, he is, isn't he?
No, they
Oh,
do
you
that,
mean?
yeah.
Oh, did they confirm
I
it?
think he is gonna be Nathan
Really?
Drake.
I think so. I don't think he looks
Why?
like Nathan Drake.
No.
You can't really get somebody.
He's
who's
got
Nathan
that
Drake,
cute little frog face.
though. Well, have you played Uncharted 4?
What a great compliment.
No,
Andy,
it's
Andy,
the
have you
internet
seen-
joke that
have you seen the young
he
Nathan
looks
Drake,
like
though?
he's always holding a frog in his
Yeah,
mouth, just like
that's
this, like this.
Have you seen
protective-
the young Nathan Drake though?
Oh no, I haven't.
Yeah. Well, that's who he'd be. He's
Oh,
not going
okay.
to be an adult
Alright.
Nathan Drake. He's going to be young.
Because if Nathan Fillion was just like just a few years younger, just so.
Well, did you see the thing that Nathan Fillion did
Yes,
though?
and it was
The fan
beautiful.
video.
And I need more.
I'm ready, Josh.
Alrighty.
Is it getting hot? now?
What?
I turned the air off because it was really cold.
Oh, it's getting a little warm, but it's
Okay.
fine.
I'll turn it back on. I can figure out how to make it just go up so it don't be on always.
I do kind of need to do this.
It's not the reaction I was expecting, but okay.
Guys, I missed this so much.
Oh my
gosh.
Me too. I was like, I understand. Like, he's got to take care of his wife, but at the same time, I was like, no. It made me sad, but it is good.
Are you ready?
Mhm.
Redis. What would you say? Redis.
So did the whole internet just watch us eat pie?
Instead of Ready Freddy.
The whole
Alright,
internet as
sweet.
in just us.
I mean,
Yes.
2 people.
3 people watched us eat,
Two.
One
And
is
it's-
us.
and one of them's you.
Yeah.
God.
Yes, the whole internet.
The whole
Watched us eat
internet
pie.
watched us eat pie.
One day.
9,998 more
Wait,
viewers.
there's
We won't be able to
people
put
viewing
ads
it?
on our channel.
Yay!
Alrighty. So, we rejoin our heroes as they make their way towards the private home of the mayor, Laurelyn Banairos. You make your way over there. And knock on the door. It's open by a servant. Yes. Not really, but you get let in. Cool. And she's there waiting for you.
Perfect.
Well, what have you been able to discover?
Well, first of all, you should be glad to know that I don't think this is a disease.
Somehow that does not comfort me as much as it probably should.
Well, there is always a bright side. If it were a disease, it'd probably mean that a lot of your townsfolk would die over the course of the next couple of weeks. But as this looks to be more of a magical curse, I think we might be able to find the solution rather quickly.
A curse, you think?
Well, yes, as most pathogens do not turn someone's heart to ice and then kill them from the inside out.
What?
I'm surprised you haven't been informed on
I've been barred from seeing any of the bodies.
Madame Jue is rather a strange medicine woman, then.
It's color eccentric. At the very least.
This harp music is oddly appropriate and also kind of disturbing.
That's what we start hearing, and then our hearts freeze.
Oh!
I'm sorry. You went to Madame Jue and you saw bodies?
Yes, she shows bodies.
How many bodies?
Four. One of a woodcutter.
She's not supposed to be saving bodies.
She was
She was running.
autopsy. Doing an autopsy. Discovering what could be causing the deaths. Which honestly is really smart.
She is so strange.
Yes.
Rather strange.
I like her.
She's a unique character.
She's a
probably
nut.
So,
huge.
I think it's a curse.
Our opinions.
What do you think, Toby?
To be a curse, it had to have been intentionally set in place?
Yes.
There's a bit of residual magic at the very center of the ice that she
Or-
exposed, but
That would imply a curse.
something purely elemental.
Or we could consider the fact that it's possible they stumbled onto something accidentally. But
I think they were in a place
All-
they weren't supposed to see.
All of the people that were sick? What could they have seen?
That's what we need to find out.
I think it's what they're supposed to say. No?
If I remember correctly, you said there was a puncture
No.
No.
right, like
No.
above where the heart was.
Well,
No.
From the
Not-
crystal poking through.
Poking outwards.
Poking out at the end.
Not yet.
That would be creepy.
something
The
that
puncture
stabbed
wound
in
and
and
then
left it there.
crystal.
That's what I was thinking.
So we need to investigate the other side of the lake. It sounds like a lot has been happening from over that side, on the east side.
If we're gonna get to the end of this,
I'm sorry, do you think the disappearances and the sickness are related?
Could be.
That's disturbing.
well, you've been having about half and half of each.
That's true. In fact, with the most recent numbers, it's even closer.
On the plus side, if that is possible, that means that if we deal with this, we deal with all of it in one go. So
You'd also be dealing with a creature that is capable of something like this.
of course,
How long has
that's
Madame
always a risk.
Madame Jue?
Yeah, how long has she been here in this town?
She arrived a few years ago? Yes. About 18 months ago. So just shy of 2 years.
Not long after the festival, then.
Well, the festival was almost 3 years ago.
You said
25
24
months. 25 months. 2.5 years exactly.
Where did Madame Joy say she came from?
10 months a year.
Where did Madame Joy say she came from?
I've never asked. She's showed up, and she demonstrated an ability to cure diseases. We live in a swamp, and so there are many of them. So we just assimilated her into our society.
I think I know what you're thinking there, Louis. I think we should keep her as a suspect.
A sus?
Everyone's a suspect until we find
You
them.
said she wasn't supposed to be keeping the bodies.
Well,
doing
it's not natural.
You seem to
No.
have a little difficult time trying to remember where she came from.
I never asked.
True. She's mysterious. And that leaves
She's
just
weird.
answers to be found.
Maybe I'll, when you continue your investigation, I'll look into her a little bit more.
Do you know where she gets her materials?
Likely from the same place as all of the other herbalists in town.
On the eastern part of the lake.
Most likely she commissions people to go fetch the materials for her. I can't imagine a woman like her trekking all the way to the other side of the lake. Have you seen that Bunyan?
Couldn't
No,
miss
she's
it.
very open about it.
You
Yes,
said
I
that,
think she's proud of it.
You said that all the foragers.
I think she's hoping it'll grow into a head or something.
You said that all the foragers that
That
went
sounds
missing,
like
they were
her.
commissioned by different companies.
Oh, different people. You see, foragers are like mercenaries. They find who needs work done, and they do the work.
Freelancers.
Yes, exactly. Freelancers. They have a particular set of skills. They're able to locate things within the forest.
Anyway,
Sounds like she was agreement.
Let's see.
Well,
Let's see.
Salute,
is there anything
You too.
else that
That's
you?
the number 2.
Is there anything else that you think we need to know about before we trek off to the other side of the lake?
any pertinent questions, Toby?
I have no idea what's going on.
Obviously, it's your first day on the job. So confused. Welcome to.
Here, I will say, if you go to the other side of the lake, please look for any remains. I dare not hope that anyone's still alive. But if perhaps you're able to find something that provides someone closure, then that would be a good thing. You won't find anyone living because we've redirected everyone, unfortunately, to the forest on the south side of the Empire Preserve. It's a bit long of a journey, but it was necessary, as it seemed that most of the people venturing into the woods across the lake have died.
In regards
There's
to
something out there.
what we were talking about just a moment ago about hope, perhaps if we ever have that in the future, if we could be aware of such a titillating welcome, we would appreciate it. I was caught off guard.
You handled it beautifully. Each of you.
Mm.
Except for you. But that's okay. I understand your time.
Well,
Here's the
as
thing that
smiling
I
as
was
I
told.
was, it was not ideal to be caught off guard like that.
You
for-
heard of a man called Ulysses Crow?
Have I?
We might have heard
Mr. Crow, come across him a few times.
Have I? Yeah,
He's our boss.
of course.
Yeah. He sent me a message about 3 days ago.
Of course he did.
He asked that we make an event of it. I assumed that you would have been privy to that information.
You
No.
call this a vacation.
Well,
Thank you for the hospitality.
if it's any consolation or recompense for the discomfort you may have felt, it truly did wonders for the people of Miss Side. And I don't think it was my words, but I think it was your presence here. And
your allowance of their adulation. They
Well-
needed it.
I can see that, which is why I followed along. I just, should we... It puts a timeline. If someone else dies while we're here, after that kind of parade, not only does it contradict the entire purpose, but basically we need her. And I think,
Are you not planning on hurrying?
no, that's not it.
Thank you for your time. We should get going.
Do you need a place to put up?
We found one.
You're resourceful. Good.
As a curiosity, has anyone else been recently affected? Anyone that we know that's seen the starting symptoms recently?
Everyone
that
knows,
was reported?
everyone has been instructed that if they begin feeling absurdly cold, to make it known to as many people as possible. We've had a few that unfortunately have not resulted in, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, we have a few that were
False
wolf cries, false alarms. However, there was one a few days ago, a woman, very calmly approached me here in my home, told me that for the last 3 hours she had been feeling an intense cold. She, knowing what was to come, arranged for someone to watch her children, gave them everything that she thought they would need or everything that she could to take care of her children, and then she came here and she let me watch her die. She felt like I needed to see it.
Anything that you observed while she was dying?
She screamed for about 3 seconds and then she was dead.
Is there anybody that harbors a grudge against your town? Anybody that's left was kicked out?
Finally, productive question.
Maybe someone
Wish I
who
thought
had
of
a reputation for
No, I'm saying, like, wish I would've thought of it.
supernatural or mysteriousness that the townsfolk didn't take a good liking to.
There was one person. It's a bit of a touchy subject for me.
Guessing your father.
And I apologize that you will have to
Not
talk
my
about
father,
it.
but my mother. My father died 10 years ago, natural causes. My mother, however, survived him. About 2 years ago. My mother was investigating an incident. She was very well trained in fulfilling the roles of this office, as she had alongside my father for many years. And so while I was learning the ropes and admittedly not giving too much attention to the job because I didn't want it, she was out among the people, solving problems, finding out what they needed and fulfilling those needs. There was a woman, Esafel. Esafel was terrible, terrible woman. But she was very, very skilled in the arcane. And in this town, we don't have many people like her. And so she would often assist us with building projects or with prospecting, with mining efforts. She would put herself to work until she had worked herself ragged. Esafel was also, what I assume, to be bipolar. One moment you'd be talking with her and she would be pleasant enough. She'd always had a bit of a dry wit, raucous humor, and then the next
she would flare up. She would say the vilest of things. And so, one day, my mother interceded between her and another good woman of the town. And apparently Esafeld had decried one of her children in a very foul manner, and had threatened to beat the child in the street. The mother stepped in, and Esafeld struck her repeatedly. If my mother had not intervened when she did, we suspect the mother would have died. As it is, she walks today with a limp, and she's unable to bear children. Anyway, 3 nights later, we found my mother dead, and we found Esafeld gone. My mother had been torn apart, her limbs severed cleanly, and all of her blood had been pooled in buckets in the corner, not a single drop spilt on the ground. So, you ask if anyone bears any ill will towards Miss Simon. My mother's killer.
Keep her in mind. Thank you.
How long ago was that?
Just over 2 years. At that point, I was fairly new to the town. I'd just come back from university. Just a few years before that.
Okay. Well, I think we have enough information. Other than, how's the quickest way to get to the other side of the lake?
Probably one of those barges you bought.
Thank you.
We have a number of small fishing boats, but they're not built for speed.
Try to take one of the river boats then.
At this point, it's about 3:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
Because it's winter, it's just barely starting to show signs of getting dark. The kind of flurries have turned into not necessarily a snowstorm, but heavy snowfall. Where do you guys want to go?
I
Let's
don't
go
want to stay at that tavern.
Let's go back to the tavern to rest for the night, because we probably shouldn't be traveling in a snowstorm.
Maybe that's the best
At
time
night.
to be looking for this.
I'm just saying, you intend to go to a place with no roof.
It has a roof.
You said that the
The,
fourth floor
the
was-
fourth floor doesn't have a roof, but all the other floors have roofs.
Which is the floor of the 4th floor.
It's discreet. No one comes by.
purpose is to show off Chimera. You can sleep there. I'm going to find a warm place with a real roof.
Alright.
What do you want to do then, Boss Bear?
I'll go back to the tavern.
Okay.
I'll find a fun, warm tavern, and I will sing for some just like whatever crowd is gathering.
So as Vasimir kind of takes a few steps and then the snow conceals him. He continues retracing his steps back towards the tavern. The rest of you make your way towards what you assume to be an inn. It's a taller building, about 6 stories. The first 3 floors are each made of stone, and then those above that made of wood. As you approach it, out front is a large open area, and a number of forts have been built by all the kids out front. And they're currently hucking snowballs across the no man, the DMZ in the middle. And they're violating all sorts of non-combat codes. Anyway, as you pass nearby, Gedrid, you are struck by the fluffiest of snowballs right in the chest.
Oh,
And
Y'all are gonna
one
die.
of the kids, all of a sudden, he mounts the barricade that he had been hiding behind.
I got you, you little halfling. I got you now. What are you gonna do about it?
I melt the snow barricade underneath him.
all the kids, after hearing him kind of jeer at Gedrid, they kind of ooh, and then all of a sudden the snow
Only the
foundation
middle of
between
it.
him, directly beneath him, just shunts him downwards in a sloshing puddle, and he's like ankle deep now in just ice cold water, and he falls on his butt, and his feet are still stuck kind of in the slush, and he just sort of like. He sits up a little bit and he starts sniffling and just sort of like rubs at himself with his mittened hands.
I'm gonna grab him and pull him over and prestidigitate him and just get him all warm.
Okay, yeah. You clean him off, and the prestidigitation kind of like squeegees the water out of his clothes and stuff, and he's just sort of like shivering.
Oh no!
And he just like gives you the biggest, tightest hug, and he just like tries to burrow into you.
I'm like,
okay. At this point, all the other kids are like, "What's happening?" Like waiting to see what happens.
I use Mage Hand, and I want to throw a snowball
Just
at
like
one
a
of
random
the other
kid.
kids.
Okay, so you toss a snowball, and all of a sudden it's like that's permission.
Yeah.
So all the kids just like. They're barely even throwing snowballs at one another. In fact, the only ones that still throw snowballs at another kid is when that kid threw a snowball at like their favorite one of you.
Okay.
So like Louis gets hit with a snowball, and then all of a sudden that kid just gets pummeled in the face with like 4 snowballs because Louis has spent the most time with all the kids. So all the kids love Louis.
Willingly or not.
So all of the kids just start throwing snowballs all over the place. And I imagine Claudius is over there. Yeah, Claudius is over there just like fortifying a position for the kids, and like Mage Hands all over the place just throwing snowballs, and Tobias is like ducking and rolling from barricade to barricade, like, I don't like this at all. I'm a city kid.
I hand him a snowball.
Yeah.
Throw it. It's cathartic.
But who?
Any one of them.
Who did you throw it at?
I find a little kid and like.
Okay, make it an attack roll. Add your dexterity.
Nat 20, you kill him. Instant crit.
There was a rock in it.
17.
Yeah.
17.
Yeah, so you hit him like square between the shoulders and the back, and he sort of like stumbles a little bit, and then he turns around just with the biggest grin on his face. And he's got 2 snowballs, and he just starts running towards you with them. Yeah. After about 15 minutes or so, the snow, the weather just continues to grow a little bit more bleak and cloudy, and the kids kind of start like eyeing the sky, and they're like, "Oh man, that's probably almost time to go in." Sig, you watch kind of. All the kids are it's just chaos. Like kids are running back and forth. They're screaming in the way the kids do. They're just screeching rather than communicating with one another as they throw snowballs. In the middle of all this chaos, kids running back and forth and all around, in the center of it stands a little girl. And she's about 4 years old. And she's all bundled up in her snow clothes, adorably. And her chin is kind of tipped up a little bit towards the sky, and her mouth is open, and she's just sort of looking at the snow falling down on her. And you swear you begin to hear her say something that you can't understand in a language that you've never heard before.
Do any of the rest of us understand?
I lean over as quietly as I possibly can while still being heard by Claudius. Do you mind using your magic detection? Tell me if you see anything in that direction over there.
I'd have to ritual cast that. I only had one in the ring spell.
Okay, no, that's not going to work.
Wait a second.
Can
Do
you?
I overhear them? I think I did the third.
I will instead, because
I write in
because
the
there
cell
there's
off
no
in
way
front
to
of
detect. I'm
Edred,
just gonna
and I
try to
detect magic and
dispel.
arrow pointing at her.
You're casting Dispel Magic on the child?
Yep,
Okay, so it'll end one magic effect currently affecting a creature.
correct.
Okay, cool.
And if it's a level 3 or higher, I have to roll for it.
Right.
Unless I cast it higher, which
Okay. You cast Dispel Magic, and at this point, some of your companions kind of see you. They know what casting a spell looks like.
right, yeah.
And, like, this, you especially, Tobias, you, Gedrid, Louis is just, like, being pummeled with hundreds of snowballs. And then Claudius, obviously, you're over there next to her, just sort of, like, peering in the direction that she's waggling her fingers a
I
little bit.
might take a small wad of snow and just lump a kid with it. Just up the ground, move it 5 feet, and just.
It's like a snow shovel, just scooped it and threw it.
Yes.
Hey, shape water, does it have to be...
No.
Doesn't have to be solid. Or it doesn't have to be liquid.
Well, because you can do blocks of ice. So what the in between? Anyway, so you cast Detect Magic. I need you to make
Dispel Magic.
No, I need you to make an ability check with your spellcasting modifier.
Oh shoot! It's hot spells.
Okay. Natural 17 plus 5. So 22.
As you cast the spell, you begin hearing that there's a droning sound coming out of her mouth as she stares up towards the sky. And the droning, to you, Claudius, because you're looking in that direction, you begin to pick up on it, and you feel like you almost understand it. You almost are able to decipher what's being said.
Move closer.
But not quite. Proximity doesn't seem to affect it. As you get closer, it's simply you feel like it's right there. You feel like it's so close to a language that you speak. As Sig finishes the spell, the girl kind of like collapses to her hands and knees, and then stands up, picks up a snowball, and throws it at a kid. I need everyone to make a perception check for me. Louis included. Jax?
15.
12.
14.
Sorry. 14.
Wow.
23.
Okay.
So 14.
14 plus 9?
Yeah.
23. Oh.
14 plus 23.
Okay.
14 plus 9.
Sig, you're focused on the girl, so you almost miss it, and in fact, everyone else does. Louis is, just because there's so much stuff going on around Louis.
He's a punch mage.
But
He's got punch.
even with all of the kids kind of piling on top of Louis, he looks over and he sees the four of you kind of gathered together, and so he's focused on you. But Sig, you hear from somewhere up above the faintest whooshing sound. I think I heard a whoosh.
A whoosh?
Did anyone see the Lego movie?
Yes.
I think I heard a whoosh. Yeah, so just the faintest, and it seems to be moving from the east to the west.
Do I feel like I could follow it, or do I feel like it's just the way?
It's pretty darn cloudy. You could try to follow it if you wanted to.
In this storm, I don't feel like I could.
Okay.
I look down at the child again, and she looks...
She is completely fine. She is a normal 4-year-old child, just running around, not begging people not to throw snowballs at her, and then pelting them as soon as they turn around.
they stop, yeah.
Something
What was it?
I don't know. It kind of vanished in the
Sounds like a
snow.
train.
Whoosh.
Edward is gonna
What?
one of his
Where was it?
It was up.
like seeing her like looking up,
Uh-huh.
not seeing anything. Kedrin is gonna activate one of his dread presence.
Okay.
And he can gain blind sight.
Oh.
Up to 60 feet.
60 feet?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's cool.
Okay. You look immediately in the direction that Sig pointed, and you faintly see a shape about 60 feet. No, about 40 feet up. That seems to be moving through the air. And it appears to be a humanoid shape hunched over an object.
Is it forward, like the moving?
Yeah, so if Sig pointed, you would basically have looked up in that direction, and it is moving away from you.
Okay.
Get a closer look.
What does that look like, by the way? That blind sight.
So it's like you can't see his hands, but like some of like the veins like on his jugulars, it's like they almost darken, and his eyes, which are normally just like a dark brown, become kind of like there's like becomes like a glowing circle, like golden circle around like the pupils.
Ooh, I like it.
And like little spores like appear in the air around them.
Cool, thank you.
So, you saw a creature moving through the clouds.
There's something there. We gotta go quick.
Follow?
Alright. So I see the way that
Louis!
they're pointing. I gotta go.
Oh, you have to leave?
Yeah, I just. It's too late for me.
I'm sorry.
I've been up since 3 a.m. because my work
Oh,
stuff,
man.
and so
Are you going to be able to drive home safely?
yeah, I'll be fine. That's why I had to go now. Otherwise, I won't be able to drive.
You know what? What do you guys think about picking this up next week?
I'm good with whatever.
I mean, it's not technically a one-shot then, but
That's okay,
Yeah.
but I
two-shot.
I can stand to stay a little longer for that, but I'm
Uh,
crazy.
The whole purpose is to see all of you guys in action, and the
Right.
action's about to start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
Alright.
don't apologize,
Let's do it
dude.
next week then.
Yeah. We started late, and then we had setup to do, but now that we understand the setup, it's going to go a lot quicker next week.
Cool.
Shaden, thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Okay. So, with the mysterious figure flying through the storm clouds above the congregation of children, having a giant snowball fight with the heroes who have come to them from the organization known as Chimera. We'll pick that up next week.
Ooh, man. I was really hoping to just go to the tavern and be able to sing one of my 8 songs I made.
And Vasimir is nowhere to be found.
Yet.
Well, you know where he'll be. Is this one yours, or is this theirs?
It's mine.
Okay.
Don't you know?
You always split the party.
So, just as it was leaving,
Maybe he
did it
got
look
like a
it
little
was
bitter and changed his mind.
What? Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
I said maybe he got like a little irritable and then changed his mind.
Oh, that's up to him.
Me? Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
literally
no, you're
always irritable.
So stubborn. That's why I said,
I really like these things.
Those guys are cool.
The little big head goblins.
Right?
Yeah, we've just been putting out a big variety of stuff.
Yeah. That's been great.
I'm not gonna tell you, because you guys might see it.
It's stuff.
Ooh, if it's going off over the tops of the buildings, I just want to cast Jump and Expeditious Retreat and just be like,
Yes. Put yourself in that situation, please.
it's 60 feet in the air.
Alone in the skies with a creature that apparently flies.
I clump.
That rhymed.
You did rhyme.
Yes, it did.
I did.
So the fly spell, does it allow you to take other people with you? I forget.
No.
Okay. So I have my
if you cast
boots,
it at
and then I
higher
can
level.
cast
Correct. You
my
cannot cast it.
boots, and then I can cast it on someone.
I'll just Hulk my way. Just fly the other people.
I have winged boots, so.
Guys, I think this is a good setup. And I'm definitely going to be watching the video.
Yay, good. Let me know if you have any suggestions or.
That's why I'll watch it to see
Yay.
if there's anything that I might think of.
Thank you.
Oh, did he bounce already?
Yeah.
Poor
Shake it bounce.
I wish he would have told me earlier that he didn't want to stay too late. That's okay. I'm glad that we got to meet. That was so fun, you
That
guys.
was really fun.
That was so fun.
I hope my accent is intelligible.
I feel
So-
kind of
sometimes when you speak softly, I just can't hear you.
I was like, that's a douche move.
I'm on the verge of like dropping the accent because it like is distracting me from myself. Like if that makes sense.
From
I
what
don't
you
know.
want to say.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like a
That's-
serious
I
tone.
completely understand that because
Yeah.
like it's like when you learned Portuguese for your mission,
Yeah.
where you're like, okay, I want to say it in Portuguese, but
How do I do that?
How do you convey it
I need to
correctly?
say it as simply as possible because I
Yeah.
don't know that much.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yes, thank you. So I
I've
might
seen
just
practice
do like
a little more.
Kind of like
I don't
with
know.
Seth. I can't speak as intelligent because getting the words together and then translating it into an accent is kind of rough.
That'll come with practice, though, guys.
yeah.
Because Foe didn't really have much of an accent.
There's just like a little bit of an English
Yeah.
cast on it. I just don't want Gadget to
Oh,
just be
let's
like
let the
a
soccer boy
caricature.
out.
Yes.
Right.
He wants
I
to
got
say
you.
hi.
Yeah.
I like to have.
Everyone say bye. Internet.
I need to make
Bye,
a voice
Internet.
for my character because I really like to have them when I
Can you
speak
click it?
in
Can
their
you click it?
voice.
There
I
you go.
need them to be different than me.
I'm waiting for Josh to say
So
bye.
then I can.
I did
be
say,
painted.
I said bye, internet.
Yeah, I know, because of the lag.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Oh, did Sokka out a little too soon? Hey, Sokka
I meant to
boy.
let him go
Sokka.
out to potty.
Sokka, let's go potty.
That's right.
Sokka, come here.